Pew Pew Bang, a video game podcast that's also a slumber party. We're talking games, we are sharing stories, dishing out life advice. My name is Kelsey Lewin, and I've got joining me today Janet Garcia.
Hello.
Haley McLean.
Hi, sisters.
And Sarah Podzorski.
Hello.
So this is our first episode, so I want to take a minute to introduce what the heck this thing is before we jump into our first segment. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of days I kind of feel like the world is getting worse. And I had a particularly bad day last year, and I realized I wanted to channel those feelings into creating something that was positive and productive. So I asked these three women at MinnMax, real quick, this is a MinnMax listener-supported podcast. Anyways, I asked them if they felt the same because they're all talented and cool. They basically immediately picked up 80% of the work, and now this is happening. So here's the idea. We all work in games. We all podcast in the video game sphere. And we've seen that having women on the show isn't enough to actually attract a femme-leaning audience. So we wanted to make a video game-centric podcast that was for women. No pink tax. It's free. And then we had the challenge of figuring out how we can actually make something for women that's not stereotypical, nor like the cool girl reject femininity thing. So here's what we landed on. This is Pew Pew Bang. And it's a show that plays on some tropes and also goes beyond. It's horse girl content and it's survivor horror content. It's drunk girls in bathrooms and video game lawyers, sparkles and video game history, all of the above. So if this sounds up your alley, or up the alley of a friend, girlfriend, etc., please tell them about Pew Pew Bang and give us some feedback on the format. I will not apologize for being long-winded, but I will start the show. So let's go.
Good job, Kelsey. Fantastic description.
Thank you. Thank you. Janet wrote like half of that, so. Okay, first let's do a rapid fire of who you are, what your role is in the game industry, maybe a quick shout out of your taste in games. I can go first. My name is Kelsey Lewin. I have a couple of video game stores here in the Seattle area. I used to be the co-director of the Video Game History Foundation. I've kind of just been in and around the industry on the podcasting side for a while. I play a lot of JRPGs. And a lot of Monster Hunter.
And you're an author.
How about Haley?
You're an author, Kelsey?
Oh, and I'm an author. That's true. I wrote a book about Animal Crossing. I forgot about that.
My name is Haley. I am a video game lawyer. And then I also do content for MinnMax on the side. Super excited to be on. Super excited to be here, ladies. Can't wait to podcast with you all. I play a crap ton of video games. And then I write video game contracts all day. So my life is like 90% video games. But the only thing my partner and I do is pretty much play video games together. I don't know about you guys. And that's kind of my life. I walk my dog and that's it. So
I eat sometimes too.
I sometimes eat. I actually haven't eaten yet today, so I'll eat after this podcast.
Oh my God.
A sweet treat.
Haley.
I had 2 pieces of toast.
What are you, an anime protagonist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Paddington. I watched it yesterday.
Anyway, Sarah.
Add some marmalade to it.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Sarah. I've been working in the video game industry for over 8 years. I've had many roles. I've done localization, production. Currently, I do marketing for indie games. I'm working on Fields of Mystery right now. And yeah, I've just been around. I've been around. I know a lot. I've seen too much. My favorite games are probably, I love to play the cozy games like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, but I also love things like Elden Ring. So my tastes are vast.
Nice.
And Janet.
I am Janet Garcia. I am a host, game critic, and video game consultant. I do a bunch of podcasts, MinnMax Show, Remap Radio, Gangcast, Indie Council, and now Pew Pew Bang, which it's like, people ask how many podcasts is too many. The limit does not exist. Always excited to start a new show, have a new project with a new lane. And for taste in games, I also write a bunch on my website, pen2pixels.com, because my favorite thing to do is reviews and features and lists. I'm kind of always chasing what's out there. How can I be the most knowledgeable on what just dropped? Minus the genres I don't play. So if it's a shooter, I'm someone else can do that one, But I try to keep it pretty vast. Favorites are platformers. I'm a big platformer fan. Favorite game is Jak and Daxter. Yoshi's Island's also up there for me, old school Mario. But I play a bit of everything. I'm a big Horizon stan. You know, I love to gather, love to shoot robot animals. Also just like to hang out with robot animals. I'm really hoping one day I could stop just shooting the robot animals in Horizon. That would be dope. But yeah, that's kind of those are some of my like bread and butter titles.
Awesome. Okay, so for our inaugural episode, I guess that already was kind of an icebreaker, but we're going to do some icebreakers. So naturally, I'm going to start by asking you guys what filthy, degenerate conditions you game under. What is your ideal gaming environment, and why is it alone in the dark with a pregnancy pillow, Haley?
Because it's the comfiest way to be. I'm not pregnant. My mom heard I got a pregnancy pillow and got concerned. I said, it's for gaming, and she got sad, genuinely. She's like, oh, okay. I love gaming in bed. I told myself I need to stop gaming in bed. I think I told you guys the story off the podcast, but my therapist said to me, stop gaming in bed. And I said, I will. And then I never did. And I won't.
What is the reason your therapist gave for not gaming in bed?
She thinks the blue light screens in the bedroom is really bad. She thinks it's going to contribute to my OCD and anxiety tendencies. And I said, listen, lady, this is the closest I have to that feeling going away is when I'm gaming in bed.
Isn't that what video games are for?
Literally, I can feel myself not having those tendencies when I'm straight up gaming with my Steam Deck. So, respect her, thinks she's smarter than me, but I don't listen to that one piece of advice. I'm sorry, and I don't think
What's crazy is both you and Kelsey have mentioned that you play games like right before you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. If I did that, I'd be up until 5 a.m. playing.
Well,
games.
I can only do very specific games. So
Same.
it's literally just like Balatro, like it's puzzle games, it's mindless stuff. If I try to do something that requires thoughts before bed, that's a very dangerous. I mean, yeah, I'll also be up till 4 a.m.
I'll be like doing karaoke in Yakuza 0 while my partner's sleeping beside me, just like. It's like
are you
3
like
in the
volume
morning.
on? Like
yeah,
volume
he's
on?
a deep
Or
sleeper. Yeah, I'm good.
No
Wow.
headphones?
No
You're
headphones.
like a terrorist in your own home. No headphones? That's
No
insane.
headphones. I don't need them.
Wait,
He's
Kelsey,
passed
real,
out.
real quick, are you budgeting the time of like if you go on the sickest Balatro run ever, or are you just like no matter what at like 11, 12, I'm just turning it off?
I'm going to be honest. I am at the point with Balatro now where I'm really only playing very specific decks where like my odds of winning, my odds of like getting through, you know, the sort of normal run are very high. So it's pretty much just playing with like the erratic deck, the checkered deck. Like I don't play to lose before I go to sleep. You know, I don't play for a challenge. I don't do any of I don't do any of the stakes or any of that stuff. It's just like I just want to win a round of Balatro, and that always like starts making me sleepy. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 rounds of Balatro, but like I really am. It's like 90% of the time I'm just getting through that, you know, initial 100,000 points or whatever, and then, you know, I keep hearing people saying like, oh, the best feeling in Balatro is when like the number is so high that it starts doing the
to the
exponential thing.
That's the word. Yeah, I don't remember my math terms. I have never gotten that.
I've never gotten that either.
I've played so much Balatro. I've never gotten that.
Me neither. How are y'all gaming? Not in bed like a gremlin, like
Not
Kelsey and I?
in bed. I can't game in bed. I feel like I would just fall asleep. I used to be like I used to be like a huge PC gamer, and I still consider myself a PC gamer first. But like now that I work from home and I stream, the idea of having to sit at my PC for any kind of like positive thing like gaming repulses me.
It's so true.
So it's like if it's not on, I only really like to play on my Steam Deck now. And if it doesn't work on my Steam Deck, like I got Infinity Nikki to work on my Steam Deck. So it's like if I can't get it to work on my Steam Deck, it may or may not happen.
Sarah, I was going to say I followed the prompts to do that. I did not. I pawned that off on my boyfriend who got it working on Steam Deck for me. But it does not run well on Steam Deck. Like
really?
I gave
You
up.
have to kind of adjust the settings a little bit.
Okay, maybe
because
it
puts it on like the lowest
enough.
settings possible. So I had to go in and like turn stuff back on.
But you want the sequence to be sequencing. Sarah?
Well, it's like when I want the sequence to sequence, I will play on my PC. Like when I want to like take photos and stuff. But if I'm just like gathering resources or doing my dailies, I just do the Steam Deck. So yeah, gaming is like, I don't know. And I don't really play on consoles very much, like PlayStation or Xbox or anything. But yeah, PC, I feel bad. I need to fall in love with my PC again.
But where
I
are
play
you
on a laptop.
sitting? Where are you sitting with your Steam Deck?
Oh, I have like a tiny couch in my office, really close to my TV that I lounge on.
Gotcha. You got
And the
With my
TV is just
marshmallows.
like for decoration now because you're not actually hooking up your consoles to
I've
it?
actually never played a game on that TV, which I guess is kind of
Wait, what's
wild.
the TV
considering
for,
I
though?
sit right next to it to watch my Twitch streams. To put my Twitch streams on
to watch
while
your
I
own
play on my
Twitch
Steam
stream?
Deck.
But what's
No,
the difference
watch
between
my
that
people-
and the bed? That's like literally
yeah.
5 feet away to
Well,
just do
because
the
the
same thing in
bed is for sleeping
That's valid.
and the couch is for lounging.
My therapist would agree, but I don't agree myself.
It's like maybe it can all be one thing, snacking, gaming, whatever. Yeah, for gaming before bed, I've only done Steam Deck. I have sometimes like little handhelds. Like I have a GBA that I got modded because I like the form factor of the GBA. I know you could just have an SP, but I'm like my hands are too tight around it. I don't like it as much. But for sleeping, I would do in bed with like some squishmallows to like prop up my hands. Like I always have something propping up my hands. Like
Oh, that's
I've
your
never
pregnancy pillow.
You need a pregnancy
but
pillow.
I also have a pregnancy type pillow. It's a Rivalry gaming pillow, which I got these, and then Sarah's like, "This is literally just a breastfeeding pillow." And then I looked up what a breastfeeding pillow looked like, and realized it's the same pillow. But guess what?
Valari?
Many needs with one pillow. Yeah, it's called Valari, like VALARI, and they're just like they have different skins and decorations. So I like using that.
Does it have
but I
like
don't
a
use
cup
that in
holder
bed.
or like something for
No,
my
it doesn't have a cup holder.
snacks?
I'll show
No, it's just
Sarah,
it's
fix
just
this.
it's just circular and like plush. Ideal
It
gaming
literally is,
though.
yeah. Just a
Yeah, would
breastfeeding
just
pillow.
be it's just a breastfeeding pillow. So if you already have a breastfeeding pillow, don't buy a second pillow. You have what you need already. So I'll wear that on the sofa sometimes to like prop up my hands, but if not, I can just use a squishmallow and you just like smoosh them into the right shape. Yeah, I don't hold.
I like that you say
I don't want to
wear
hold.
it.
Yeah, you just because you put it
Wear
like
the
around.
pillow.
You can like clip it in the back if you want. You could like I could stand up and we have like stood up and like been wearing them still as we like go to the fridge or something. Yeah, that on the sofa is my ideal. Big TV. I'm a big fan of big TV. Somewhere along society, people were like, "Oh, the TV's ugly. Get a frame TV." No, the TV is the pillar of a household.
I agree.
Big TV means
Piece of
big
furniture.
success.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yes.
you have the 2 TV set up at one point too, Janet?
I still
You're
have
like,
I brought it
Yes.
back. I brought it back the 2 TVs. Yeah.
That's goals.
That I do think is low key like that's a little ugly, but I don't care. It's functional. It's like I get the TV, my fiance has the other TV, we game at the same time, and it's like there's
Perfect.
always content happening all around you. You look anywhere you look.
The
there's
way
a
my
game being
partner and I
played.
have talked about how we wish we had a living room to have Janet and Isaiah set up. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, we wish. Don't they have it made? They win the couple gaming award for best setup.
The problem
That's
is when you
perfect.
have very different gaming habits. Like I don't game at my PC ever. I guess similar reasons as Sarah. It's just the idea of like sitting where I work and doing the fun thing is just it doesn't compute. So, I'm on the couch for a PS5 or Switch or Steam Deck or whatever. Love my Steam Deck, but I can't sit in front of the computer. And my boyfriend like only plays games that would not run on Steam Deck, spreadsheet sicko games. And so there's just not like we don't have a way to make that work. I'm just in that room. He's in this room,
That's kind of where I'm at with my partner. He's in the living room 3 rooms away. I'm in the bedroom. It's like we're drifting apart, babe.
No.
We don't.
I
get
used to
together.
have like when I was living with a partner, we used to have our PC desks like right next to each other.
Aw, fun.
Cute.
And that was sick. Like that was the coolest thing ever.
That is
That was
very
before
cute.
you worked remote, though.
Yeah,
Like
and
at
then you
all?
start to like slowly drift. You start to like drift apart, and it's like, remember when our desks were right next to each other?
Yeah. No.
All right, so when are you guys gaming? What is your like daily habit for this?
I've now set up where I obviously game for work, where I'll stream just like Sarah, you stream, I also stream. It's like that's kind of a different thing, different setup. Like there's cameras and lights and things. It's like not a regular session. Regularly, like on the weekday, I finally set up proper work hours for myself where they are still irregular hours, but they have like an end. Like there's a beginning and an end, which I never had an end before. I kind of had like maybe when you get tired, when you give up, I had like eventually you give up, but not like this is done. So now that I have an end, I can do other things that aren't thinking about work, which include gaming, which is really exciting to finally have like set time for that. So it's just anytime after work, usually after dinner. It's kind of rare for me to game before dinner just because it's like, how deep is it that I gotta like get in on this now? You know, I'll probably wait a bit. So yeah, evening, like, you know, maybe like 7, 8 p.m. It's like, I feel like 7, 8 p.m. You still have that enough time where even if you go to bed early, you have a couple hours.
Yeah.
And if you go to bed late, you have even more hours. So it's like, this is a good spot to be at, is probably around when I'm getting into it. But what about y'all?
8 p.m. is prime time gaming. Like if I had to think of an hour to game, it's 8 p.m. That's on the money.
I'd agree.
I do the same thing. I finish work and then I game. But lately we've also been like at least one weekend night. Well, like we have so I have my partner Michael and then my best friend Michael. I've been best friends with Michael for 18, 19 years. He is my ride or die, essentially my brother at this point. He's my little brother because he's barely younger than me. But he comes over at least one weekend night a week minimum. Like he's sometimes there's both weekend nights, and we do Mario Party. We've been doing a lot of old school Mario Tennis. He's really like he's
nice.
A savant at that, so we play that. And then I literally bought a slushie machine, a ninja slushie, so that those nights are more
How
fun.
is that turning out for you? Because we went through two, maybe not. We had a Ninja Creamy, which is like it makes ice cream. First one obliterated immediately, didn't work. Second one, it destroyed itself upon first start. There was no third. We were like, I'm giving up on the ninja stuff. Is it working out okay for you?
Good.
I have their air fryer, so I'm not all anti-ninja, but the creamy doesn't want to exist.
The creamy,
existence is paying for the creamy.
I don't, with the creamy, I thought about the creamy, but it's like, I would just rather buy a tub of ice cream than make my own ice cream.
Yes.
Like, why am I
making
doing
your own ice cream
that?
sucks.
That feels like too much work.
Yeah.
It's
For
so much
something
work.
that is so easily purchased.
But slushy drinks hit different than blended drinks every
You can't
time.
purchase
Yeah.
like a slushie.
No, you
Yeah.
have to go to a corner store and get a slushie and come all the way home. And even if you want to mix liquor into it, you can't really do that post slush. Like it just kind of sits on the top and the slushie's on the bottom. This thing has a spiked slushie setting. And you get to pour in alcohol with it, and it mixes it. And I'm telling you, we've been trying all the different flavors. We made one called Shrek's Crack, I think it was called. It was mango with blue Saracow, whatever. It came out green, so we're like Shrek's Buck.
Was it nasty?
It was delicious.
Did you make this or did you find it on the internet?
No, we named it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's actually, it's more alarming to you that you named it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, it came out all nasty and green, but it was still delicious. We're like, what's something beautiful that's really green and ugly? Shrek. So we're like, Shrek's Crack.
I think it was beautiful.
Wait,
He's
you
beautiful,
think
man.
Shrek's Crack is an appealing?
We didn't think. Okay,
Delicious.
we were multiple slushies. Kelsey.
They had several slushies.
I do think like true slushy liquor culture is like you kind of need a devious name though.
Yeah.
You know, like college drinks, all of those had like horrific names.
Yeah, they're like
they're not real cocktails.
Tube top droppers
miss
or
that though.
whatever though.
Yeah, I don't like. You know, I like jungle juice, like the concept of like a
that
fun.
was deadly.
Yeah,
That was just a
but
bunch
I
of
don't-
stuff mixed together, right? No, that was King's
Yeah.
Cup. That wasn't Jungle Juice.
Jungle
Maybe
Juice?
No, I
they're
think
the
jungle juice is
was-
just whatever.
Yeah, like you
It's
come into
just
the
throw
party
liquor in the pot.
and you pour a little bit of whatever you brought, and everyone shares a
It's
jungle
like
juice.
the I might die.
So bad. Yeah, no.
Like genuinely a horrible thing to do.
I think Shrek's Crack sounds way better than Jungle Juice.
was
even though
delicious.
It's like,
It was delicious. And I tell you what, it gets us buzzed 10 times quicker than drinking a beer and feeling bloated after. Probably consuming 10 times more sugar than we should be on the weekend now. But you know what? It's made gaming a lot more fun. So we have our slushy Saturdays and we game and drink slushies.
That's adorable. I was just going to ask if you had mastered like the classic cherry icy, because that's all I would want.
Well, yeah, like you can buy like syrups essentially, and then it just mimics like exactly the 7-Eleven styled slushy. Like you can and you can put
Nice.
any juice you want. The only condition is it has to have a certain percentage of sugar content, which I didn't know this. Like it can't freeze the right way unless it has enough sugar in it. So we were actually making one and we didn't realize we had used like sugar-free lemonade and it wasn't slushing. So then we had to pour in a crap ton of simple syrup just so it would like solidify. So we kind of defeated the purpose of the healthier lemonade, but
how hard though is the machine to clean? Even
It's
though I'm not
so
the one
easy to
cleaning my
clean.
apartment. My fiance is the dishwasher person, so I guess I
pour
shouldn't care.
water
but-
on the top at the end, and then it has a rinse setting, and it rinses, and then you just like pull the trigger down and it flushes all the water out.
I
and
might
it
need to
pops
get
right
in
off.
on this.
I need this sponsorship.
I actually can't get in on it though because I sort of have banned like my household where I'm like, we need to stop. We don't have the space to buy like specialty appliances.
That's fair.
Like
As someone who
we have
just bought
we have
a really
fire.
fancy ice
Make it
maker.
all work with fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes up as much space on a counter as an ice maker, potentially less. Like she's skinny little tower thing. She's a great
I will say
little
this
thing.
thing
maker's
looks
huge.
cool. It looks like when I was a kid, I wasn't into like Barbies, but I was into the stuff they came with, and I would just put my stuffed animals in there. It's like, oh, there they have the dream house or whatever. It looks fake. Like Googling a picture of it, it looks like it's like something that would be in like Barbie's van that I had as a kid, where you hold it down and it like it doesn't animate because it's real life, but it like just turns, like a piece of plastic turns a little bit.
I get what you mean.
So this is
yeah.
cool.
Janet,
This is
I'm so
cool.
glad you said this though, because that was also me, except with Hot Wheels. I had like the Barbie dream house that I ran Hot Wheels in.
You drove the Hot Wheels. They were doing
Yes,
flips in the dream
No, the
house?
Hot Wheels. No.
Were they
I played
people?
with them like
they were
they were
people?
Barbies. Yes, they were
Yeah.
people. The cars
With your
dated.
Hot
The
Wheels?
cars kissed.
You're like,
Yes.
This is Dave. Yeah, this is
So
Dave.
when like the Cars movies came out, where you're like, I knew it. I knew they could be people.
I
Yeah,
literally
was that
never
you?
even made that connection. That's embarrassing.
Oh my
My
gosh.
childhood validated.
Hell yeah. It's fun to make things other things, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's just good childing.
I didn't like dolls. I liked
Yeah.
the shiny little cars and stuffed animals and stuff. So,
That's
you know.
great.
Anyways, this has so much to do with gaming.
Yeah, I just talked about a slushy machine for 10
I
minutes.
think it's
That's
great.
a core
This is-
part, though, of the experience, you know?
I appreciate
Yeah.
your like healthy relationship with games, Haley.
Where I
I feel like
consume
you genuinely
copious amounts of sugar.
get genuine joy from video games still. Like,
oh yeah, you
not
do
that
love
we don't.
everything, and
But
that
Haley
is
just-
inspiring.
That's nice.
Your love for everything inspires me to this day because I feel like when I got a job in gaming, I feel like my personal gaming dropped off significantly because a lot of what I did was like physically work on games and like at my job I would be playing a game, like
Yeah.
only one or two games, but I'd be playing it and then I'd finish working and I'd be like, I do not have the capacity to play a video game. So, because like when I work, it's like I'm constantly playing a game and like getting footage in games and like testing games. And it's just like I walk away and I'm like, okay, time for anything but that.
Yeah.
But I still, I'm also like an after work gamer, I would say. But when I play on the weekends, I'm kind of like an all or nothing person. Where it's like if I find a game like Baldur's Gate 3, I will play it like for like 12 hours, for longer than 12 hours. Like
See, I
am
want to
like
be you. I
obsessive.
can't do that.
When I played Baldur's Gate 3, I literally like my legs were starting to hurt from sitting for so long. I bought compression socks. I was like, fuck
Blood is
standing.
pooling.
Wait,
I was
wait,
like, screw
Sarah,
standing.
So you're the person they made the gamer socks for. Remember when that came out? Everyone's like, this is stupid. And you're like, shh, this is for me.
I
love
like because my legs
compression
were getting so antsy and I wanted to keep playing.
Compression socks.
Yep.
That's so good.
Amazing. What about you, Kelsey?
All right, so what? Oh, my habits or my timing.
Your hours.
It's also probably about 8 p.m. I feel like this is the first year where, maybe not the first year. The last couple of years have been where I finally fixed that same thing you're talking about, Sarah. Where like I got done with work and I was just like, all I do is video games. I don't have the like mental capacity to play for fun anymore. I feel like I've kind of finally fixed that. And can go back to enjoying games in the evenings, and some evenings that's just like 30 minutes of doing my dailies in Infinity Nikki, but still, I'm back to doing it every day. And yeah, it's usually like either you guys all say before or right after dinner. I like to sit on the floor with my dinner at the coffee
Okay,
table.
wait.
I
We
don't.
can't keep unpacking these things.
We can. We sure can. I really like, I don't know. I like sitting on the floor. I know that's kind of weird.
I
But
have
like,
a floor desk. I get it.
yeah,
Like I have
sit,
one of those like floor chairs.
I sit at the coffee table, like in front of the couch to eat way more meals than I do the
I get
actual
that.
like dining room
Because
table.
then it
Wait,
goes right
I
into
do
your
that
mouth.
too.
You don't have to like
But-
move your head.
The thing is, like, because I don't want to sit on the floor. And also, I don't have the space set up for it. I think I would if I had one of those. What's it called? Like those Japanese? Is it Japanese?
Kotatsu.
The tables? Yes,
Kotatsu.
where it's heated.
Yeah.
That sounds dope.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely like
Oh.
a dream life thing. But in lieu of that, with spacing, I am obsessed with the lifty top coffee tables, and I've only had those for like years. That way, like the food is closer to me,
Those
so it's
went
like
so viral during the pandemic.
Yeah.
yes, the goodness
Never
of the
have to
food
move.
being close to you, and you can still like watch TV because I probably if I'm not like. I mean, honestly, like whenever I'm eating, like every now and then it's like, let's have a conversation. But usually I'm like, do you want to dissociate
What
on
are we
your
watching?
phone? Or do you want to watch like a YouTube video or like anime or something? So it's like, we'll just put on a show or whatever. But yeah, same concept.
All right, so what is everybody's emotional support game? What's the thing you go back to?
Jack and Daxter.
Mine's Overwatch.
Overwatch.
Haley!
Wait, here's a whoa. Because you play a lot. Are you always in need of emotional support, or is it like a dual game?
It's a
for you?
cry for
Where it's like,
help.
What? Are you okay?
It's a cry for help.
Wait, but was there not something? Because Overwatch is still like, relatively new-ish, but like there was nothing before Overwatch. Like you found Overwatch and you were like, this is my crutch.
she was crying in a room before Overwatch came out.
I used to just ride around in circles in Red Dead Redemption, like the first one.
Okay.
Like I would just ride the mountains, the countryside, go down to Mexico, ride around, come back up.
That seems way more healthy than playing Overwatch. You should go back
I
to
know,
doing that.
It probably does.
Go back to writing.
Oh, I remember one beautiful day where I'd played that game. I played thousands of hours of Red Dead Redemption, like that first one. I would just come home from school and ride around. And one day I found a side quest I hadn't done, and it was like Christmas. Wow. It was like, when you watch a show for years and then there's like one episode they never aired on TV that like is on a DVD collection, and you're like, oh my God, a new episode of a show that I've watched for a decade. It's like the best. That's what it felt like. It was a guy hiding in some canyons and he needed help getting out of them or something. I just remember being like, oh, it's like Red Dead 2 came out in 2011. It was awesome.
Yeah, Red Dead 1 didn't have like the procedurally generated quests, right? Like it was just like there's this many side quests.
There was
and
some
then you're
set
done.
ones. No, it kind of did. Like there was the side ones with the question marks that always show up, but yeah, not really. There sometimes would just be people like, watch it, and then they were more aggressive than other ones. So you'd get into a fight with them. But yeah, it had like 1/100th the amount of natural occurrences in Red Dead 2 to warrant riding around in circles for hours. But then Overwatch
I just can't
came
believe
out.
Overwatch is your
Yeah.
comfort game.
Yeah.
And it's over. I like that's like when I considered going back to like League of Legends, and my loved ones had an intervention, like
No, they
like a
didn't.
last month. Yeah, they did. Well, I mean, it wasn't like an intervention, but I was like, oh, like League of Legends, like it was post Arcane. You're coming off the high of Arcane season 2, and I used to play League of Legends a lot in college, and I was like, you know what, like League of Legends, like it kind of looks like a fun game. And then
And
literally
I got
people
this
were
this
like,
time. I'm not gonna fail a class this time. That
I'm like,
wasn't
I'm good at
me.
like video games now, right? But I had so many people like were like, Sarah, don't. Like I don't know what to tell you. And then I watched someone crash out over League of Legends bad, like after like 5 losses in a row. And I was like, oh no, I'm cured. I'm cured.
Exposure
really-
therapy.
Almost no worse feeling than losing like 3 times in a row in League. Like it is.
No.
Those games are too long. It is demoralizing. You start questioning your life choices. Like,
There's like actual data on League of Legends that after a certain amount of games that you play, you should stop playing and like play the next day, because you will actually get worse at playing the more you play. Like in a day. Like by like game like 10 or something or 5, you should stop. And if you've had like a loss or 3, you should also just stop, because it's only like statistically, it's only downhill from here.
I don't
That's
hear
wild.
that with Overwatch. I'll only get better and better.
Really, I had a dream
That's
last night that I was
probably
playing
Are you just not
Overwatch.
listening? You're like, I can't hear you.
I
It's
can't
along
hear
like it's like that and your therapist telling you that you can't game before bed, just all tucked in a mental
Yeah,
drawer.
imagine your therapist knew about Overwatch.
She would drop me as a client. She wouldn't want to see
Haley,
me
what do
anymore.
you like? What do you think it is for you? Because this is like, I do feel like when people talk about their comfort games, most of the time it's like game from childhood that you just like have memorized like the back of your hand. Like, I'm curious, not to be your therapist or anything, but I'm curious about the psychology of like a game where people are likely to yell at you being your comfort
Well,
game.
I'm out of comms, first off. Never, ever in
Yeah.
comms.
Nice.
And you
learned
play with
that
other
lesson
people,
early.
right?
Mostly, I'm
Like-
95% of the time I'm playing that game, it's with.
Yeah, you don't play by
My
yourself. You're
friend
not like
group.
soloing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as we've been recording, how much you want? Yeah.
So is it more of the friend group?
Look, I got literally text from my friend Kyle. I don't know if you can see it. Overwatch tonight. And then
Hold it up to your other camera.
Yeah.
my other camera.
That's us. That's not us. That's us.
Yeah.
Overwatch
What
tonight.
are the nuns for?
The nuns.
said-
Yeah, what's with the nuns?
What about Sister Haley? Question mark, question mark. And he put nuns to see if I'm into it too.
Have you considered, like, I don't know, playing Valheim together or something? Or, like, something where it's, like, multiplayer but not competitive?
I'm trying
Monster
to get
Hunter.
them
Can I
to-
interest you in Monster Hunter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're
You just seem like you'd hunt.
me.
You'd be down for the
Yeah.
hunts. Yeah. I think you have what
Is
it
it-
takes
do you
to like
mostly-
get into the
hunter.
hunt, you know? Yeah.
Do you mostly game with, like boys? Do you have, like, a group of boys that you game with?
Yeah, I have a group of gay boys. I just love to
I-
gay with, to
Gay
gay around
boys?
and game with.
I have a group of I also have a group of like degenerate gamer boys that I would play Overwatch with, but we have since moved on to like Valheim or whatever else multiplayer's coming
I think
out.
they would like more variety. They just love Overwatch, and like I do too. Like the summer I lived
just
in
love Overwatch.
Minneapolis for that summer when it came out, which was 2016. Michael, my best friend Michael, and I hung out more than ever before just in Overwatch, like than any other summer. Do you know what I mean? Like every single day I came home from work and we play Overwatch for like 6 hours minimum. It was crazy. So now it's like ingrained in our brains as like young, like early 20s something Haley and Michael play game, have fun Overwatch, even though it kind of isn't as good as it ever will be back then again. I think that's all it is. That's like where we hang out. It's kind of, you know how young kids hang out in Fortnite? Millennials hang out in
hang out in
Overwatch.
Overwatch.
It's your
Oh,
third
no.
place.
No,
That's our digital space, our digital hangout zone.
That's our
It's
the
your
third,
Roblox,
the third digital
yeah.
space.
Yeah, exactly. Forget parks. Overwatch lobbies.
We tried
I,
Overwatch.
I never had the like hang out in Minecraft friend group, but I do
No.
know that that's a thing. So
Yeah.
Are you guys good at Overwatch? Are you ranked or do you just casual?
They play all on console, and I drag them up into PC lobbies, and they don't love
Oh.
that. So sometimes I'll join the group, and they all kind of go, ugh, because I'm dragging them up into the PC lobbies, and they know they're going to get them all of it.
Aiming.
Yeah. But I want to get them into, like, sillier other games, like Dead by Daylight, or, it's just, like,
Yeah.
add some
Yeah.
variety.
Haley,
Helldivers
it is literally,
2.
you must shepherd them. You
I have to
are
shepherd them.
Sister Haley. You must shepherd them. I
Yeah.
truly think you could, expose them to some other games.
Yeah.
I really do feel like, because I get all the stuff you're saying is like, that is how I feel about Helldivers 2. And it's just, it doesn't have the like toxic streak. So I get that.
I guess we
I have-
don't. We've squeezed all the toxicity out of it. That now it's like almost like a playground that we don't care in. I'm sure there's dudes yelling at us, but we're in our own team chat. And we don't hear them. So we're just like, ha, 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 like that's pretty much all we do.
Just like it's like going to like a haunted, abandoned playground, but you're like wearing headphones. You're like, it's fine, everything's fine here.
Literally, listening to Carly Rae Jepsen and running around. Yeah,
Like there's a not haunted playground like right over there. You just
Yeah.
there's
But the
15
haunted
theme
playground has
parks.
the memories, you know?
That's where we met.
Sometimes things having flaws, like there's comfort in what the flaws are because you know what they are. So it's like, it's almost like the devil you know versus the devil you don't, or the person you don't. I forgot how the saying goes,
It's also fun to
that
complain
vibe.
about something. It's like if you go into your perfect game every night, you're like, oh, it's our perfect game, but I can go in and be like, that new update of the battle pass, disgusting. It's like fun to like hate on it while you're playing it,
it's a place to direct your anger.
A safe place for hate. Yeah,
safe
non-problematic
place
place to hate.
And that's what comforts Haley is hating.
Hating on the things I spend my time on.
Yeah.
Okay, who has a normal comfort game?
I feel like mine is so normal. Mine is just like The Sims. I've
Love
been
it.
playing The Sims since like elementary school. I've played every single version of The Sims. I own, at least for every version of The Sims, I've owned at least like 90% of the expansion packs. Like I am in deep.
Can you check
And I
how
will always
big
go back
your-
to The Sims.
your mod?
No, I
folder is?
literally had to buy like a new like more space on my PC basically just for The Sims.
That's amazing.
Like it's insane. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I go through like sim phases where all of a sudden I just get like the itch to play The Sims, and that's all I want to do for like the next 5 days. And then I'll drop off and I won't play it for a few months.
That is a universal experience. Like my sister and I feel the same way. She's in the itch right now because all she has is a Mac, and she's like, "Should I play it?" I'm like, "Your Mac won't be able to handle that very well because she has a really old Mac." She's like, "But I need to play." She's like, "Will my Steam Deck run it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could probably run it. We can figure it out." She's like, "Okay." Like she'd probably play it for a weekend and then not touch it for 6 months. Just crazy.
Yeah.
What
What are you doing in there, Sarah? Yeah, are you like
am I doing in
running
The Sims?
storyline? Are you doing storylines? Are you like living
What's your
alternate
go-to storyline?
realities? Like what's going on
it's
when
like
you boot it
all
up?
of a sudden I'll get like an idea, or it's like, oh, I've never really played like the doctor career, and I'm like, okay, let me start a family, and then they'll have a child, and I'll put her through college, and then she'll become a doctor, and then
You got the university
and I like to see how many generations I can get off The Sims too. Because I never get very far. I used to just like play a family and then get bored and moved on. But now I like to try to see how long I can get the family going before I just like lose interest in it. But yeah, just kind of like whatever. Like there's like a Twitch streamer.
I love when they're all cheating on each other.
I'm bad at that. I wish my Sims were more exciting and they lived more exciting lives, but like I'm really bad at like putting drama in it. I just feel bad.
Oh, really? I got like
It's a bunch of perfect lives.
As soon as one of them has a job and the other doesn't, it's like, who can I cheat with? Like that's like how the wife spends her day at home. It's like whoever walks in front of the house, affair. Keep it spicy.
Sarah,
Yeah, there's like
do
two
you do
types
the,
of Sims
like,
players.
Do you do the like create people that you actually know in Sims?
Yeah.
Or were you ever?
No, I did that when I was younger.
Okay.
Like as like a kid, right? Like you'd create people and then I would like create my crush in The Sims and I'd make us fall in love and have a family. Or like you'd create people that you hated and then you'd like set up on fire or whatever. Just like super chill stuff, you know,
Another
super like
space for
helpful
hate.
stuff.
Normal 12-year-old girl
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just normal things. But as I grow up, it's like I don't want any semblance of anyone I know. I don't even want myself in the game. Like because then I'd be like, wow, my Sim's really successful and she's doing a really good job and I'm just like, Like there's like a Twitch streamer career in The Sims. There's a streamer career and I just can't bring myself to do it. Cause like the minute my Sim surpasses me, I think I'll feel bad. I think it'll make me feel bad.
A streamy or something in The Sims.
Yeah.
How do you apply the lessons of a successful Twitch streamer in The Sims to real life?
Right. You're like, I think you just do it all the time. 24/7. Sleep stream, let's go.
Oh, there you go. There's the cheat code.
Sims is a good one. That's a super comfy game. Just whatever you want it to be. Are you gonna play what's the new one? Paralives? Is that what it's called? Or that one got
Parallel
canceled?
Lives?
There's a few
Or is it
like
maybe it's Paralyzed?
potential Sims competitors. There's Paralives. There's Inzoi that I think is coming out later in the month or next month in early access. So it's like, I don't know. Nobody's really managed to capture or catch up to what The Sims, like what made it special. But like,
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them because we need more competition.
Valid.
This is how I feel about the original Animal Crossing too. Is just like Animal Crossing is not anything like the original one anymore, and I have massive respect and a soft spot for that first one. I may or may not have written a book about it, but like they're really like there's a lot of games that say they take inspiration from Animal Crossing and a lot that kind of do the like Animal Crossing like thing, but there is not really like no one has really captured that same vibe. The closest that it gets is just like there are animal villagers and you decorate things and you talk to people and you like do the same, you go through the same motions, but it is not the same game. And I don't know, it's interesting to me
And you
that
think
like
it'd be like easy, right? Because like I feel like the formula of Animal Crossing is pretty basic, but I feel like people truly aren't like grasping what exactly makes
Yeah.
Animal Crossing special, which is like the relationships with the animals, their differing personalities, and like the decorating and like the collecting of the furniture and like the growing of your, you know.
I think everyone just takes it like too far into the customization. And I like the customization, but I think every time it ends up being like a decorate a dollhouse game more so than anything else. Because, you know, in the original Animal Crossing, like you could put like signposts and flowers outside and stuff, but you can't like terraform the whole town, you know, like you can't choose where your house goes. You can't choose where your neighbors' houses go. And I feel like every single one that tries to do something Animal Crossing, like just always bleeds really far in that direction. Like, you know, you put the trees wherever you want, you put the benches, you put the like pathways and everything down. And like, I wonder if that's just like what distracts it from feeling like
I wonder if it's because it misses like the real time aspect. Because a lot of people will say they don't like the real time aspect of Animal Crossing, and like Lord knows we're all time travel. Are we all time travelers here?
Not after the first week.
That's true. I didn't for the
I just
first
get
one.
all the tools and then I stop.
Yeah.
and then I'm a good girl the rest of the year.
I don't really know what I am anymore because I also, when I was first playing, like New Horizons is the only one I have played, and I was doing it for guides, so like I had to sin to do the job.
That's so scary.
And then I also like made pages about being like, how do you sin? Because I know you want to, and then, you know, like because that's all anyone ever wants to do. It like at least the general you. People love to cheat in games. Like everyone claims like I feel like so much online discourse with like gaming is. No, like you have to be really good at the game, or you have to like do things the right way. Like, oh, you finished it, but did you finish it without the magic amulet? It's like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
But the reality
you
is,
summons in Elden Ring.
Yes,
Then I guess you didn't really beat Elden Ring.
That's the smack talk from like a loud group. But the truth is, there's a quiet, bigger group that's like, I want to fly in this game where I'm not allowed to fly. You know, they you know, that's why cheat codes exist. It's like the history of games involves cheating. Like it is, you know, like we've been cheating from the, and it's fun to cheat and do like funky things. Obviously, you know, play however you want, but like the idea that, oh, there's like this purity. It's like, that's not what the source says. Okay. There's a lot of people out here cheating.
You can see how many people look at your guide. It's probably like how to wait for the tools versus how to get the tools day one.
Exactly. But I do think the real time is fun. And I think, I guess, that's kind of an issue with all like, for lack of a better term, like copycat games, right? Like it's hard for them to always capture like what really makes it special. And it's like, it's easy to make something look like something else, but to make it feel like something else, I think is a lot harder to figure out.
Janet, what's your comfort game?
It would be Jak and Daxter. This is also much like Haley. It's like, I would say like it's half mental breakdown, half like this would be fun, you know, because it's like my joke's like if you see me booting up Jak and Daxter, like
call for help,
check in,
see
call,
how
check
I
in
am,
on me.
call now, yeah. Dial the number on your screen. Yeah, like it's just a game that I know really well. I think I have a lot of, you know, different comfort games, but I think that's a good go-to because it's like my favorite game of all time. It's fun. I like platformers, love 3D platformers. There's not a lot of good 3D platformers, so even if you don't think Jak and Daxter is like one of the greatest 3D platforms ever, it's probably like high up there just by way of process of elimination, baby. It's like, well, what are the better ones besides Mario? Astro. It's like, nah, and then you kind of don't, it kind of gets quiet. So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. It's got some cool lore, and I really like the writing in the game. It's very like funny and quippy. And I have like the opening monologue like almost memorized at this point. And when it plays, I'll like recite along with it in my house. I'll be like, the father's father, you know, the rocks do not recall. And I will like be reading it over and over again. I think it's awesome. So yeah, that's a fun one. And I think because it's like world based, you know, it's like that classic, like you have kind of it's not really, back in the day, I think they'd call it maybe open world, but it's more like open zone, like the beach, the town. Then you get enough like of the power cells to like go to the next area of the game. But because it's so segmented, it's so easy for me to just like boot it up and just do like the first like 2 little hubs. And then it's like, then you quit. It's like a good like peace out game where I'll boot it up and there's always like these random save files from years ago that are like, oh yeah, I like we just got to the lava canyon, or I like, oh, I only did this part. So it's a good like game to walk away from too. And I just got it on Vita, which is the worst way to play it. So I'm excited to dip into it there because it's like I've played it every way except that way. So I'm like, oh man, you know what I should do instead of play any like new game or finish the games I started, replaying a game I've played a million times in a new way. So that's really what I get a kick out
like,
of.
Everyone else's games like Overwatch, Sims, like we have like modern versions of that, like Animal Crossing, right? But like for you, you're just like, I'm loyal. I'm forever loyal. Do you think it'll ever
I'm at the
change?
restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like there's other games I find comfort in, but I don't think they'd be as go-to for me. And it's such an easy like one to play. And then the more I play it, like the better I'll know it. And then I become even more powerful at the game, which I think is exciting. Like the idea of just being able to roam through it and like, oh,
speedrunner.
Yeah, would you
exactly.
ever do a speedrun?
I would, yeah, I've thought about it a lot. Like the Jak and Daxter speedrun is not too hard. It's a couple like key glitch spots. So I'm like, yeah, like I should do that. But like I'm a real sicko for that franchise because like I'm definitely in the realm of like super fan, right? Like I have like the limited run editions when they brought those out. I follow like Echo Mutity on social. It's like a big fan account. It's big to me. I'm like, oh, this is a great account. You know, I follow that. I like when Dreams was a thing, I like looked up Jack and Daxter in Dreams to play like
Oh my
people's
gosh.
versions of the game. I'm like, what's like, and I think someone did like Jack 2, which was like, that was my favorite game for a long time that I replayed. And I'm like, let's just pick Jack and Daxter 1. It's better. It's fun, bright. Jack 2 is kind of a hellscape. But it's like a nice hellscape though. Cause it's like, yeah, it doesn't work right. But I know the way it doesn't work. Like Mario Sunshine's up there too for me, Sarah.
yeah.
Might be like another competitor. 'Cause it's like one time I was like,
It's so
one time I had like a
beautiful.
vacation. I'm like, it's like I'm on
So
vacation, and then
happy.
Mario's
The vibes of Mario
arrested.
Sunshine are great, and then when you try to pick up the controller, you're like rancid. The vibes immediately
Whenever you go
disintegrate.
to that limbo place with all the floating
Yup.
blocks,
Yeah.
it's like hell.
Yeah, it's like
But it
the
looks
little
so
the no
good.
flood zone. Yeah, it looks good. It's fun. It's got a dumb story. You know, the iconic moment like with Peach thinking that she's Bowser Jr.'s mama and not knowing. It's like there's so much good lore. I'm your mama.
so
Like,
casual about it.
How the hell do you not know, girl? What the hell are you
like
playing?
it's got some great.
We don't know how babies work in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, she might
Some
lay
iconic
eggs
VO.
and just like, you know, just kind of like a hen. Like most of them don't have
She just
anything in them,
grabbed
but
one of
every
those
once in a
outlet
while,
things.
there's
Maybe there's like a metaverse, you know?
She's like
Multiple
severed or
universes.
something. I don't know.
The
Something,
Peach
something going on there.
apologists in here. I don't like it. She should know if she had a baby Bowser Jr. or not. That's how
we all did
Yeah.
stuff in college we're not proud of.
It's like I thought that was taken care of already. That's a fun one for similar reasons. Like it's fun, it's childhood nostalgia, but it's also like and Jack and Daxter is much easier than Sunshine is. But what's cool about Sunshine is you have to know how to play it. It's like you have to figure out the weird feeling of the controls because they're like a little broken. But if you're good at it, you're really good at it. So I can do it pretty easily. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And anyone else is like, this feels awful. And I'm like, you gotta like squint a little bit, you know? I think there's something fun about that that you get with certain older games that could be cool. And new games have that too, but for new games I can't be bothered because I'm not a combat person. I'm a movement person. So I can't really do like Elden Ring, but I can do like hard platformers because it's like, oh, that's like it's just me and the level. While here it's like it's you and like a really good AI. I'm like, no, that's better than me, and I'm never gonna catch the robots. So I want to fight the world and not the robots.
You're fighting gravity. That's what
Yeah.
you're doing. Defying it.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
In terms of just like vibes based comfort, though, I want to shout out Kirby 64, Kirby and the Crystal Shards.
Hell yeah.
The level design in that game is just so like those are places I would like to be. Just about every single level.
I feel like Kirby. They did like for me, it's like Kirby Air Ride. For whatever
Oh, yeah, I
reason,
thought you were gonna say Air Ride,
Kirby
yeah.
Air Ride is like I would just go into the Kirby Air Ride like open map or whatever, and I would just go like run around as Kirby. I won't even play the game. Like I'm just here to exist as Kirby in a nice universe.
Sounds nice.
Can I admit something?
No,
I played
always.
Kirby Air Ride for basically the first technically I had rented it once as a kid, but like basically the first time seriously this last summer, and guys, I don't think it's very good.
It's not good, okay? We don't play it because it's good.
But that's like, yeah, exactly. That's like that's exactly what I was talking about, Sarah. Where there's certain games where it's like I kind of like that it's bad. Like I like that Sunshine's a little bad. You got to work for it. Jack 2, you got to work for it. No one wants to work these days.
I
Yeah.
can see why, like, just as a kid, just flying around those levels would be very appealing, though. Like,
I love
that, I
flying.
totally get that.
It's so funny because like these games are bad, but it's like despite that, as a kid, you really didn't have a lot of options, so you had to find something good because you bought that
make
game
your
is
own
like what you
fun.
got for Christmas. That's all you get.
You make your own fun in those games, you know?
I would say Crystal Shards, looking at it now, it looks incredible. I don't think I've actually ever played it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, Kirby
right.
has like some of the best design stuff like ever.
All right, so should we move on to our next segment?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is something we call challenge mode. This week's challenge is Sibling Rivalry. It's a softball this week. We're not doing a hard challenge this week, but you know, it's our first
Although
episode.
next time
ramp
it'll
up
be
from here.
Haley. Don't play Overwatch.
Oh,
Haley, get the
Oh my
play
God.
anything but Overwatch.
you're gonna have to text my friend Kyle and tell him that he's gonna be very upset.
Yeah, next week we're tackling our addictions. This week the challenge is call your sibling, and we're gonna ask him some questions.
All right, I have my brother, Edwin Garcia here. Edwin, who are you and how are you doing today?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's at the time of this recording, it's the first day of the week. It's Monday afternoon, so having a blast. I am Edwin Garcia, aka Brother Janet, as people refer to me as. And I'm so excited to be here. And first podcast guest, first episode. Really looking forward to hearing this once it's recorded. And I wasn't really prepared for anything besides just agreeing to jump on a call and see what questions you have for me.
Well, you got the flattery part down, so.
Yeah, older brother also, 6 years older. So yeah, just
Fun.
I guess I think the first thing that we want to know is what is it like who am I according to you? Who would you say I am?
Who am I?
I would say Janet is my sister. I would say she's a video game journalist who kind of covers everything. And then at this point, I would probably say she does a lot of streaming. She does a lot of review work, and she runs her own site. And then I would highlight your social media platforms if someone wondered where they could see your stuff. That's kind of how my elevator pitch for you is.
This is so diplomatic. Where's the juice?
Yeah, that's way better than what I would get.
Well, I get asked a lot, oh, that's your sister? Like, you're Janet, what's she like? And that's kind of, the general, this is how I would answer if asked who Janet, aka Game Honest is.
Janet,
Trained
famous.
politician, this one.
What would you say is the best game we've played together?
Oxenfree, I would say would probably be the best game we played together, because that's, in our opinion, a 10 out of 10 game. It has a lot of emotional weight. And at the time, I don't feel like it was spoiled to us how good it was. So it kind of felt like, hey, let's play this game together. And then while playing it, it was like, are we playing an incredible game right now? And I'm like, I think we are. And we knocked it out in one day. So it definitely has like kind of all the elements of the bonding, the significant emotional impact. There's also a lot of family stuff involved in that game. And I think it was just kind of set up where we're like, wow, what an incredible experience. And it's like, and we did that together all in one day. So to me, that's probably the best game we played and kind of best experiences of it kind of all happening in one moment.
That's a good sibling
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, it definitely was. I remember that being, I don't think we knew much going into it, and it turning out to be like a younger sister, like older brother story in a lot of ways. We're like very, very early in that game. It's like revealed that I think Alex is the name of the protagonist, like that her brother had died. So it's like, whoa, it just felt very like weighted to be like, obviously my brother's here not on this call, but it kind of had this weird, like, I don't know, ghost layer to it in a way that I thought was also really cool. And what would you say generally it was like playing games with me growing up? Because we have kind of I guess like an intense gaming history in a lot of ways.
Yeah, growing up, I think, so for those, which is pretty much everyone who doesn't actually know Janet fully, except, the people on this call, right? So the audience doesn't know you like that. Janet has been who she is now pretty much since birth.
Aww.
So like the hard work, the like kind of tightly wound, like everything you know or think about her, that is not an act. That's how she's been pretty much since she was able to formulate sentences. So that's how she's been. It's been the same person, just obviously growing, developing, and ideally improving over time. But the core of who she is has not changed since like 7. And I think the biggest thing growing up playing games with you was that you were way younger and I was way older. And as anyone knows, video games are very skillful, very difficult, and they involve a lot of complexities, dexterity, intelligence, resiliency, repeating of methods to get to a certain level of achievement. That's how we beat the game, right? You have to master it and defeat it. Those things are hard when you are 7 or 8 and playing games where games are developing and changing. We made the transition along with gaming from 2D to 3D. And all those janky games that don't work well, yeah, we had to play those games and beat those games.
Mario
and figure out,
Sunshine, let's go.
Yeah, the Mario Sunshines, the weird Resident Evil, games that you move without a joystick and it's very robotic and like all that kind of stuff and boss battles and things of that nature. The maps weren't good. And I think the hardest thing when I was gaming with you, Janet, when you were younger, is when you felt that friction, you would react kind of like a child, which is like you get very frustrated and you're verging on tears and you want to quit, but you want to keep playing and you're mad you can't get past it. And kind of the brother I'm kind of like a matter of fact, not tough love, but I'm also like, hey, you got to deal with it. Like, do what you got to do, but the game's going to be here. I definitely I'm not a coddler in that sense. I'll give you your time and your space and your grace. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to beat Bowser if you want to keep going.
So you did not step in and save the day ever. It was like if Janet's struggling with something,
Nah,
you don't step
did.
in.
A few times, but it was very
Thwomp
rare
for me because I thought he was scary.
Yeah,
I was
very
like
rare.
5 or 6 and I thought he was scary. I was scared of boss battles as a kid, and I'm still scared of boss battles.
I was
I guess
too.
you're right. You're the same.
I get too stressed out by the music.
Yeah, it's very high pressure. I'm like, this isn't like the rest of the level, and I found that to be frustrating because I'm like, I love the level. I don't like having to fight this thing at the end.
I would say for every 10 times this happened, I stayed off the controller like 8 of the times. There were a few exceptions, sure, but for the most part, I'm like, you have to figure it out. You could do it. Just get back to it. Try again later. I kind of left her, and I would tell her too when I did help. I'd also tell her, again, I'm helping you, but how much is that going to help? This game's got more game. Like, you have to get good at these things because I'm not going to just play the game for you. I don't want to do that. I'm already playing this game. We would also do a lot of, which is kind of ridiculous now because no one would game like this, but that's how we would game. So if we were playing a game like Mario 64, I would go through and knock out like 3 stars, then pass through the controller, and she would knock out the same 3 stars in a different save. So it was literally like watching a walkthrough, then rewinding it, and then experiencing it yourself. So that's another reason why I didn't like to play again. I'm like, I just did it. Like, I already did it. Like, it's your turn to play. Like, you do it. Like, I don't want to do it again. I already had to do it myself. So there was a lot less of that, but there was at least a little bit of, let me help you out when you got really stuck. But I'm trying not to because it's your game. And if you want to do it, you have to play it yourself.
Yeah, I really liked playing that way. I haven't done that, and we should do that again sometime. But it's so much extra work. Then I feel like now we just share the file. But what was funny about that is that we'd switch off like who starts. So if you got stuck on your part, so you played for maybe an hour or 2, and then the person that went after, they saw how to solve the hard part, so then they could go further. And it kind of felt like you had a worse, your session was worse. And then it was really funny for boss battles. I remember this even with us replaying Jak 2 and Jak 3 recently, where I remember for Jak 3 specifically, you went first that day that you did the final boss. So I saw the glory, but then I had to redo the battle, and I hated having to do that because it just felt like I had to just do it again, and that was always kind of salty. But yeah, and I think those are my main questions. Does anyone have any questions for my brother Edwin while he's here?
You guys seem too nice. Tell me you fought when you were younger. Me and my brother fought so much. Tell me you guys aren't perfect like you appear to be in this call.
I would say we fought sometimes, but we weren't very quote unquote childish with that stuff. I kind of was we were kind of similar and we kind of got along pretty well. I wouldn't say we were chummy because I still found it weird to be like, my sister's my friend. I'm like, that's just my sister, But I said we didn't have too many beefs or battles. We kind of divided and conquered things in life. So it was more about, let's just get these things done. Like, we want these consoles. Like, we never thought about that kind of stuff. It's like, let's just look, our parents said we can all both get one. If we both agree to, I take the GameCube, you take the PlayStation, we can just borrow each other's without beef. And we live better, in a more sharing things society than we do if we're going against each other. Someone's gonna have to lose, and why don't we just both win? So we generally got along. There was always times someone takes it too far, somebody jokes too much, someone gets on someone's nerves, I can't stand you today. The natural kind of kid stuff would definitely happen. And when Janet was young, she definitely didn't understand, maybe your 13-year-old brother doesn't want to hang out with the 6-year-old sister today, and he'd rather just do his own thing. And to Janet's credit, she didn't take it too personally. She's just like, you're annoyed by me? That's cool. I'm going to keep annoying you until you give me what I want. Which you probably understand is how Janet gets as far as she gets.
Yeah, the persistence. Yeah, I think even now we're kind of the same deal. We get along really well. But I remember us doing our Jak 2 stream. People were in the chat being like, "Oh, you guys fight just like me and my sibling," and we're like, "What do you mean? We don't fight." But really, we're bickering over kind of everything. But I feel like they're always very unserious annoyances more than there's some siblings where it's like, oh, get out of my room, whatever. That was sort of rare for us. I think we just kind of were always hanging out.
Well, thank you, Edwin, for joining us and giving us a little bit of juice on Janet, a little bit of the
gamer juice.
A little bit of the tea.
Yeah, whenever you guys want me to spill some dirt on Janet, I'm more than willing to. So feel free to drop a signal and I'll come through and we can dish out some dirt.
How do you feel about that, Janet?
I'm here to get the job done, whatever the job takes. So I will give my life for this podcast.
All right, welcome, Kimona. That's my sibling.
I'm Kimona. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kelsey's sibling.
That's right. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Just quick little.
Yeah.
You are.
I am Kimona Lewin. I am an anime voice actor and a competitive fighting game tournament commentator. I am also Kelsey's sibling. We always feel awkward about how to say it. I'm non-binary. Sometimes brother works, sometimes sister works, sometimes something else entirely works. But
Yeah, if
we
someone
just go
wants
with
to
sibling
invent
usually.
a word for sibling that's like not gendered, that doesn't sound clinical, I would be really thankful if someone
I
can do that.
do sound like I'm extending a stiff handshake when I introduce myself as somebody's sibling. Yeah.
Same DNA
Okay.
friend. Something better than that.
All right, we're starting this off with I'm going to need you to elevator pitch me to the world right now. Just a quick, who am I? And you don't have to be political about it. You can you say whatever you want to say.
Elevator pitch you like my sister?
Yes.
Tell everybody what you're about?
Yeah. Who am I? I have amnesia.
My sister's name is Kelsey Lewin, and I used to live in the same house as her, which is crazy. And there were times when we didn't, which is also a point. But yeah, we grew up playing lots of video games together, and then we both ended up doing work in video games, and she now owns a game store, and which is just like, it's one of those things where it makes me think like, oh yeah, she's got everything figured out. Like, just I should follow her example at all times because she always knows what she's doing. Just, you know, in relation to me, one of my best friends in the world that I could ask for. Just smart, intelligent, fun to be around. I don't know what else to say. Like, this is one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I hope that I can get that across easily.
My
You're
sister's coming
supposed
after
to
you, so
dirt,
you gotta be not as adorable as you're being now, because my sister's gonna be like, she's fine, I guess.
Could you guys tone it down, please?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So nice.
Her name's Kelsey. What? She's short.
Yeah, take that.
That's so cool that you both got into games. That's very fun. I feel like that's really unique for siblings to both kind of go in the same industry.
Yeah, I'm glad that we get to talk about things, and like most of the time we don't have to like explain like I'm five a lot of the things to catch up. Like, we can talk about a lot of the same things that we enjoy, and obviously it's really cool that we get to sort of root for each other and push each other on as we pursue those things. It's great.
It's a lot. I don't know if you guys have the experience of like trying to explain to your parents what you're doing, and it's just.
My grandma still thinks I animate sometimes. She'll
That's
go,
all okay.
I'm like, Nan,
Okay.
no.
We'll have to unpack that in
Yeah.
like the witty when people ask you about video games part. But
Lawyer,
Yeah.
animation, same thing.
same thing.
Same thing.
All right, Kimona, what was it like playing games with me growing up?
There was a time where because you were the older sibling, that I just sort of believed that you like knew how to do everything, and I just tried to copy all the things that you did in games. So like, you know, you would have like a Pokemon save file with like your party set up a particular way, and then I'd try to mimic that, or you would set up your house in Animal Crossing a particular way, and then I'd try to do it just like that, but like a little different to like make it so that the teacher doesn't recognize that I stole the homework.
Yeah, this is all news to me, genuinely. I did not know
No,
that.
I like there was a lot of that, and when we played games together, there was a lot of like I was very much a sore loser as a kid, and I still am now, but like I keep that in my head. And I try to be like a magnanimous loser on the outside. But like as a kid, there was a lot of like, I need to like do the things better. Like, you know, it's funny, I play competitive Smash now, but back when we were a kid, before I got into it, yeah, she beat me all the time by jumping up above me as Kirby and then turning into a rock, and I'd be like, I don't know what to do.
Hey, up B also very good. Okay, it was a combo of down B and up B.
You
Yeah, and
did
it takes
love to
real
use
skill.
the special moves. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I think mostly, like, aside from doing like some like, you know, occasional like Smash Bros, sometimes, you know, like Pokemon Stadium mini games, like I think a lot of the times we just like hung out and sort of played games together more than we played them against each other, which is, I think, partially where I got that, like, I'm going to steal ideas from you because that's really cool. But yeah, we'd like sit on the couch and, you know, play Animal Crossing. We never really played too many like RPGs or anything together, but there was a lot of like, you know, Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon or, gosh, I'm just trying to think of like any of the things that we would sit down and play. Obviously, Pokemon was one of the things we do often. Wii Sports. Sonic for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah, don't let me forget about the hours that we poured into the Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure 2.
Absolutely.
Goodness.
Yeah, we had a very good split, I feel like, in Sonic Adventure 2 battle because I was, you know, a little bit of an emo tween teenager. And so I wanted the like downstairs where it's all like gothic and there's the water looks like blood and all that stuff and the dead trees. And then I don't know, did you actually want the like heaven area, the upstairs, or was it just that I was like, I'm the older sister, I get the downstairs?
No, I definitely wanted it because I was certain for a fact that it made me a better person than you. That
I feel like
I was
too.
like,
I don't
I'm in
know.
heaven. I did way better than you. I don't know what's going on there.
I want to be in hell with my child.
You can have the dingy basement.
And I was
Okay,
like,
so-
my angel chows will be the best of all time.
What was the best game that we played together, do you think?
So I think that there is nuance to this question because best game and favorite game are going
Let's
to be.
go with favorite. Yeah, best is a dumb question. Favorite.
I would definitely go with favorite. And honestly, I'm gonna say like the things that I have the best memories of is probably just like sitting down and playing Animal Crossing together, even when it like wasn't playing together, like we weren't doing like parallel play or whatever. It was like I was sitting there on the couch, you know, watching you play Animal Crossing, and then, you know, we'd switch over and I do some with my character. And like I just remember that, and that's sort of how I enjoy doing games now also. Might just be that like has informed the way that I grew up, but I love like sitting in Discord calls with my friends playing games or sitting on the couch while like my roommate's been doing this. He's been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and yeah, like we just, everybody in the house, we've been chilling on the couch and hanging out, and he's playing that, and we just hang out and talk about stuff while that's going on. I feel like we did a lot of that with Animal Crossing, and that is the first thing that I think of when I think back to like when we would play games together.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to play on the Animal Crossing save? Like, were you allowed to like have a house on the card?
I'm pretty sure we each had houses, although to be honest, that was back in a time where like most of the time I didn't want to feel like I was like falling behind or not making progress, and I hated being like, you know, I especially did this with Pokemon saves. I would just be like, yeah, I'll go on her save and I like won't mess anything up, but I'll go fishing because it would be really cool if I got a coelacanth, and then I'd be able to be like, ha! I got the coelacanth.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't remember you ever doing anything like that would have annoyed me, because I was kind of a perfectionist with Animal Crossing, and I don't remember that ever like coming up. And again, maybe it's because I've suppressed memories of like bullying you into not doing certain things.
I've messed things up a couple of times, not on purpose, mind you, like never to annoy you as a sibling, but just like because I was, you know, I didn't know what was going on, and then you got mad at me, and I was like, oh, okay, I won't do that again. I think it was for the same reason that like I did the upstairs in the Chow Garden. It's like I didn't want you to be mad at me. I didn't want God to be mad at me. I just wanted to, you know, I didn't like making people angry, and I did that sometimes, but it was more because, you know, usually I didn't know what was going on more than I, you know, was being careless.
I feel like I have the the most memories I have, and I don't even know if this is like the game that we played a particularly huge amount, but I just have very vivid memories of Harvest Moon on the GameCube.
Yes.
Of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life in particular. And like I just remember like that game. I don't really remember so much about playing the game. I just remember that we had like when I went back and played the remake recently, like I had a hard time like engaging with it in a way that wasn't just totally flooded with our memories of playing it. So there's a guy who helps you out and like takes all your deliveries and something. And I think his actual name is Tanaka. And for whatever reason,
I think it's Takakura. It's like a weird name.
Okay. We called him Takaraka, and
we would just add on as many rakas as we wanted to until we got tired of it.
And I physically like can't read his name. Like it's just like, oh yeah, it's Takaraka. Like, and I don't know why. I don't know why that started, but I feel like that's a game where we have a lot of that kind of just weird. I don't know. I would call them inside jokes, but they're like not even really jokes. They're just stupid things.
It's just the mnemonics that we picked up at a certain point. Like every time, Moe's just like anywhere, we both look at each other and go, Moe.
Yeah, exactly. All right, do you guys have any burning questions for Kimona before I send them off?
What was like Kelsey best at as a kid, and is that still true today?
God, it's so hard for me to think about the like exact objective things because I had that like mindset, and I think I talked about it before too, that like sometimes I still have this and I have to remind myself that like everybody is human and to a certain extent where we're all as adults just trying to figure things out and make them work. Like I had the perception as a kid, I was like, oh, Kelsey's 4 years older than me. She knows everything that I don't. And like all the things that I know, of course she already knows them. Like unless it was, I don't know, cars, because like she didn't care about cars and I did. But like
except Hot Wheels.
Yeah, we did have Hot Wheels. That's true. And I would
play with Hot Wheels in the dollhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haley, in case you think this is too perfect, we actually did fight a lot as kids.
Oh, a ton. Dude, like
good.
We're great now, but there was a lot of there's a lot of disagreeing and yelling at each other because, it's a couple of kids are going to piss each other off all the time. But I think that like the things that stand out to me as like that she was really good at, like obviously if you've ever seen any of the art that Kelsey has made, she's so talented at that. And, I use the full disclosure. I use the phrase talent as like, an accumulation of skills, not just some sort of thing you're born with. People have a delineation with that. But like back then, that was the thing that she was locked into as well. Right. Like that was the thing that she did all the time as like an investment in the future. And I always remember just being blown away by that kind of thing. Also just like the ability to like take things in stride and be social. Like she did go through a lot of stuff and I never really realized it like at that time. But like looking back, I can be like, dang, she did a really good job of, taking the things that happened. And I think like going through them in a way that worked out. Obviously, you can speak for yourself on that, Kelsey, or not. But like from my perspective, I felt like I learned a lot about just like how to talk to people and, be social in a way that like didn't feel fake. Those are the things that I think of, like going back to when we were both kids, like living in the same house. Yeah, it's hard to dig into those memories because there was just a lot of, I mean, I also kept to myself a lot, frankly, especially once I got into like middle school or so. So there wasn't a lot of like, observing what's going on. And then before then, young memories get hazier, but those are the things that stand out for sure.
I really did not intend for this to be a big.
I'm literally DMing my sister and telling her that she has to pretend that she loves me when she comes on the podcast because both Janet and you, they're like
people I love.
Janet's brother, and it's like they're like, oh yeah, my sister, I love her. I'm like, okay, Hannah, Get together.
I really assumed that this was gonna have a little bit more, just friendly fire,
banter.
but like I really thought we'd be taking each other down more, but so far it's been very, very sweet. This is not much of a challenge for that.
I do like doing that. The thing is that it's so mood dependent and like I don't know. I didn't come in with ammunition. You know, like
That's true.
I didn't come in going, I'm gonna embarrass my sister on her own podcast. I'm about to move within like miles of her instead of being across the country. I don't want to. I'm an adult. I'm gonna have to deal with consequences. So I'm gonna do my best to
Yeah, you actually can't park in my driveway anymore.
The implication she's gonna come beat you up.
She has no chance. I am. First of all, she deals no damage. Second of all, I'm impervious to damage. So there's really just unstoppable force meets immovable object. This is just a non-starter.
I think short women are some of the most dangerous creatures on this earth.
Yeah.
They sure like to think so.
We do not fight fair.
Yeah, you don't fight fair.
You're among many shorts and one tall. 3 shorts and 1 tall. That's what they call them hot.
In your head, I think you're doing like Street Fighter the movie Cammy moves to me, and in reality, I'm just like I'm standing there like out. My health pool is like my eyeballs don't even work. Great start.
All right. Well, on that extremely violent note, thank you for being here.
Well,
thank you for explaining how you would fight me. And yeah.
Oh, my explanation for how I'd fight you, I'd pick you up and throw you. You weigh like 3 pounds.
I can drop my center of gravity so good, you guys.
Her core strength is insane.
It would look like shot put. But yeah,
right,
thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Nice to meet
see you
you
later.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
All right, on the call now is my little sister, Emma. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Excited to be here. I have no idea what you're about to ask.
This is our new video game podcast, Pew Pew Bang. I've told you about that early. You got the early tea.
Yes. Yeah, I did
get the tea. So we're doing kind of like icebreaker episode, getting to know the hosts, us 4. And who knows us better than our siblings? And you and I have, you and I have gamed a lot. No, they're not that bad. Don't worry. How would you describe me? What's your elevator pitch for me, your older sister, Haley?
Okay, that's a good question. I feel like I would describe you as, it's horrible because the word quirky came to mind, and I hate saying that word. You're
quirky girl.
You're a quirky girl unintentionally. I would say you're opinionated, but your opinion is usually correct and it's delivered correctly based off us and our family dynamic. I would say you're funny, but you know you're funny, so it annoys me because you're usually funnier than I am. I would say you're good at gaming, you're good at art, you're good at anything that's like a hands-on sort of task, which I'm not, so it annoys me as well. And I would say you're the smartest out of all of our family as well, too. So there are your free Haley.
Did you message her and be like, you have to say nice things about me? What is going on?
I thought you were gonna. You can be mean, Emma. You don't have to be nice to me if you want.
Oh no, those are nice things about you. I wouldn't say any mean ones come to mind right off the top of my head.
Something we were talking about before was big fights, like sibling fights. We've had some big whompers, haven't we?
We've had a few whompers, but usually they're about stupid things. Like me wanting to go to Target and you don't want to go in, or like to do with shopping. Normally you don't want to do that.
I thought Canada didn't have Target.
No, she came to, the biggest fight we ever had was she came to visit me in Minneapolis, and obviously Minneapolis is the home of Target, so there's 8,000 Targets. Now Emma,
so you go to them.
You go normally. To them. So we had gone in about 2 or 3 Targets already. Emma said, "Let's go hit up a 4th." I said, "Emma, we got to go back," and then we had the craziest screaming match on like a side street we've ever had. We went back home. to our Airbnb and didn't say anything and fell asleep on the mattress facing away. And then the morning we got
It
brunch.
was over Target.
Mhm.
And then I think we went to 2 more Targets the next day and it was fine. But you
We
just
did.
you're a fiend for it.
Sorry, thrived in Canada. We usually make up pretty quick. That's usually our thing. If we do have a big fight, we make up, and we don't really. It's kind of bad when you say it out loud. But we don't really address it. We just like go to brunch and not talk about it.
That's kind of valid. That's how most problems. And listen, I think you and I have the healthiest family dynamic of any combo of any one of our family members and the entire extended family. So
I would agree. We
that's
don't really fight.
No,
If that's our big fight, then it's not too bad, I guess.
not too bad. Just that
Yeah, you're
regular
not
time.
Fight.
What would you say? What is it like to play video games with me?
Was this like growing up or like in general? We don't really.
Growing up
I
would
guess-
be more of- like now we just play Mario Party. It's whatever. But what about growing up?
Well, I feel like growing up, like whatever games we played, it was more like you trying to turn it into a way that I would enjoy it. Like the Orby stuff we made up, and like Sims, we would play like Big Brother and stuff. Like we just played like weird skits, I guess, and we didn't play like a full game together. We just like took games and made them weirder somehow. But I'm trying to think of what else we played a lot growing up, other than all the Mario games. And you have like 100 horse girl games in the basement that are still there. Yeah, Haley was a horse girl growing up. That's how I would describe it.
Don't try to make that a bad thing. You're in a call full of horse girls, Emma.
This
so.
is at least 3/4 horse girls in here.
Yeah.
But
so-
I know. Well, you should need to see the stack of games in our old basement growing up too. She had all of them. So I don't think you let me touch those normally though.
We're
They
allowed to
were
play them. You just didn't want to.
not normal. The Barbie one you had that we would play together. We would just make up stories within the story. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
that was our favorite way to bond.
This is
And
where Haley like her characters and her bits comes from. You're always like looking for an
1000%.
excuse to be a new character.
1000% is because Emma and I just did character bits 24/7 growing up. If I call Emma, it's never just hi. It's like, well, you got a lot of nerve calling me on a Thursday, and then it has to be some bit, and the other person has to be like, no, I actually need an answer quickly. It's like, oh, okay, like it always has to be some kind of bit.
yeah,
We played, yeah, we
you
played
were fun.
a ton of Halo 3 was our, if people don't know what Orby means, you want to give a quick, not everyone's seen our Orby video. You want to explain what Orby was?
Well, I don't even know how to describe what the Orby was. I'm not very good at these games too, but I guess Orby was like a mod. Is that the correct term?
It was the map creation mode in Halo 3 let you turn into an orb if you press up on the directional pad to add items to the map. That's what that was for.
Yeah, made it our entire personality, and we would chase each other around and like come up with weird plot lines for this orb, and I don't even know. We would do it for hours. But I guess that was our main game, I would say.
That's probably our main
Sadly.
game.
Yeah.
Sadly is wild. And what was your favorite game to play together growing up? Sims?
Probably that or the Sims Castaway.
I knew you were going to bring up the Sims Castaway.
No, I don't know why.
We barely
The
played
Wii
that. The Wii one. Emma
Yeah.
loved
That was
one.
good. It got hard though.
Yeah,
It
was
got
like-
so hard.
I literally got to the point that I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
yeah.
It got so hard for no reason at all. And I feel like we never like escaped the island either. We just like
Nope.
stopped.
No, she would always starve, or it would say, I don't think it ever showed them dying, but it'd be like, game over, you ran out of plums or whatever the food was on the bush in that game.
Probably that one, I
Yeah.
would say. Like, that was the one I liked playing the most, aside from like Mario Kart and stuff. Or the Wii Sports Island? Woohoo Island?
Wii
What was
Sports
it? No,
Resort.
Woohoo Island. The Sims.
No, Woohoo, it's called Woohoo Island. You got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that one was
WUHU Island, yeah. We played
I
a
like
lot of
that one.
Sports Resort. We used to do the Wii Fit thing where you'd follow behind the runner. And then if you ran really fast, you could pass them. But then we'd just cheat and be shaking it on the couch just because we wanted to see where we could go on the island without the coach.
I know. Or the Wii Fit board that we had that our parents got us to help us exercise.
To help us exercise. What were we, 11 and 12? Thanks.
In the basement.
In the basement telling us that we're overweight. Womp, womp, womp on the little pad. Not very
Second
cool.
year step. Yeah, probably those. I would say most of the Wii games. We were big Wii kids, or the smooth moves too. Loved smooth
You
moves.
loved smooth moves. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. But they were all fun to play.
Well, yeah, we had fun. We had fun, didn't we, kid? We had a good
We
childhood.
did. Back in the day. We need a new game.
Okay. Any questions for Emma before she leaves us, ladies?
Which one of you was Orby?
We flip flop.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
like
okay. You both played Orby.
It was take turns kind of thing. You always kind of wanted to be Orby because Orby was the more magical being. Always
Yeah,
nonverbal, though. Orby would never talk, so it was context clues with Orby. Trying to learn what he wanted.
Yeah, it was.
The
Fun.
map creator tool, Orby.
It was a good bond experience.
Yeah, and I think that's, hit the nail on the head, Sarah. The reason I'm into, like, bit and, like, jokey stuff.
It all
is
makes
just-
sense now.
It's just because of Emma. That's all we did growing up. The amount of drama in our My Scene doll house.
Yeah.
They never
I
just like had a job or what. Chelsea was getting cheated on every day. Poor Chelsea.
We were stirring the pot.
Yeah.
Someone was driving away in the car. It was a lot. It feeds into the other games we play, clearly, and you're still doing it. So,
Yeah, I'm still doing it, not you. All right, well, thanks, Emma.
no worries. Thanks for calling.
Welcome, Hannah. Everyone, this is my sister, Hannah. Hannah, is this the
Hello?
first time you've ever been on a podcast?
Yes,
Wow.
Never been on a podcast.
I can say that with confidence.
Podcasts.
Yeah, this is our first ever podcast.
Congratulations on avoiding it for so
yeah.
long.
Yeah, true.
I know.
Okay, well, don't say it like that. So I guess like the one thing that's a little different from between our siblings is Hannah and I are twins,
Who's the older
and we don't
one?
look alike. I'm older by 3 minutes.
And, you always know the minutes. You twins always know
But
the
it
minutes.
was a C-section, and I was just pulled out first. So you know, you never really. It's what is it fair?
Were you going to come out first? Like,
No, well, okay. So hi,
Oh, yay!
Sorry, she just turned her camera on.
Oh, here we
See, we don't look alike. Do we look alike?
Well, you look like sisters, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
you look
okay.
related.
First question is when people ask about me, how do you describe me and what I do?
There we go.
Okay. I usually say she is like in the video game industry. Has had a bunch of different jobs, and I usually mention that community manager is like one of your like current ones. Also, I talk about how you're a streamer. Most people think that's really cool. Well, let me say, my coworkers don't know what that is, but my firefighter buddies do, and they think it's pretty cool. And I think I usually mention you spent some time in Japan, and yeah,
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And then
I mentioned that our lives are very different.
yeah, our lives are very different. And then what was it like playing games with me growing up?
You were no nonsense, very competitive. I would say aggressive, but like in a good way.
Shocked. I'm shocked.
No, you're
Wow.
not.
Oh my god. I cannot believe it.
No.
Sometimes our parents had to regulate. If we got a game we both wanted to play, we had to regulate time that we could spend. But Sarah definitely played more video games than I did.
Mm-hmm.
She would hog the games, is what you're saying? She was a game hog?
Well, she did do a game hog, then my parents would like initiate scheduling. But most of the time, I don't think I was interested. And like when we got older, we had different systems we could use. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it eventually became like, you know, who was using like the PC and who was using the TV kind of thing.
yeah, yep.
Were you guys
And
like,
then-
It was the TV. Yeah.
were you guys pink
Yeah.
and blue sisters? My sister and I were like that. Like there was always a pink sister and a blue sister.
We were pink and purple, and but Hannah also was
Ah.
purple blue. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I can see it.
And then, what was the best game we ever played together?
Hands down, Shrek 2.
Shrek 2.
Ooh.
Nice.
Shrek 2 lives in infamy.
Quick answer too. That was right.
Yeah.
that was ready to go.
Okay. I need to know more about this. Why Shrek 2?
Oh, I think it was just one of the first like cooperative multiplayer games that you could do. But you could also like just fuck with each other. Like you could, someone could just decide to go to a different direction, and then but you have to stay in a group. So like if everybody wanted to go one way, and someone's like, "Nah, I gotta get this coin right here," and you'd have. Also, you could do.
tug of war.
We made our friends played it too. Like you could get a lot of people on there, and it was just the variety of activities you would do, and it was just like kind of campy. Like it was so bad it was good kind of a thing. Just like the cutscenes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned it was cooperative, so is this like you're finally playing a game where Sarah doesn't get to be aggressive and
I think we
Well,
yeah. Yeah, I can only really play like the cooperative games. I can't play the competitive ones.
I was gonna say I think one of the families where Mario Party was outlawed, like because of the whole stealing star, and even in competitive, Sarah can still be a little aggressive. She gets a little bossy. I think we played Overcooked recently. Was that you or Elin who was like, you're on plates, you got stay in the kitchen.
Look, someone's got to tell everybody else what to do.
Gordon Ramsay.
yeah, Overcooked is like you kind of need someone bossy when you're playing that game.
Hannah, do you remember Kelsey was talking about Harvest Moon: Another Wonderful Life with her sibling?
Yep.
Do you remember when you saved over my Another Wonderful Life?
I do. I knew that was gonna come up. I knew it was gonna come up. Yep.
And then do you remember
Was
how
it an accident or was it on purpose?
it was an accident?
Yes,
it was a total
an accident. It was an accident.
But then,
my
like-
parents gave her permission to play up to the point, so I didn't get to play the game until Sarah caught up to where she was.
They made you play for me, and I sat in the background like a slave master, and I told you what to do.
Oh,
Do you remember that? Because it was like my mom and dad were like, okay, you deleted Sarah's save, you have to play her game up until the point that she was at, and then I got to like sit in the back and be like, do this, do that, and I think I got a little, I was over it pretty fast because it's like, you know, you weren't doing it to my standards, so we had to swap back.
Oh,
I
wow.
believe it.
Get out of the way.
I can
Get out
never
of the way.
play video games up to Sarah Sanders.
Mm-mm. They're high. The standards are high.
Do
Do you think that you would play
Sarah's
games
standards are
if
high.
I wasn't your sister? Like, do you think if I wasn't your sister, you would have played
Yes.
video games? Okay.
Oh, that's it.
Yes, I think me and Sims has a very intimate relationship that I don't think can be broken. So definitely PC games, but I don't know if I'd be a Nintendo girly as much as I am.
Thank you, Hannah.
It's nice meeting you.
Hannah.
Yeah, it's good for you to be here.
Bye, Hannah.
Okay, we are going to move on to a section that we call Show and Tell because Show and Tell is fun. And we're going to start with something shameful. So everybody today should have brought something. What is your physical gaming object or thing or whatever that brings you the most shame?
Who's going first?
Ladies.
Ladies? Ladies?
I'll go first. Hang
Okay.
on. I have to get it though.
Oh, it's larger.
It was under a
It's
blanket.
hiding a blanket.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
Oh, I know what
no,
this is.
Kelsey! That's
Why
not
is this shame?
shameful!
No, it's so cool.
This is so heavy. This is a Game Boy embroidery machine. This is not the Game Boy sewing machine, although it also can sew. This is you may or may not have heard of the Game Boy sewing machine. In Japan, of course, they did much more with it. So the one that came out here is just a licensed thing that Singer, the company, licensed, and they're like, we'll just have this one color, this one little Game Boy sewing machine. If you're curious how those things go together, it's literally just like it connects with a little cord there, and it's like it acts as like a tiny computer for your sewing machine. So I mean, nowadays you can buy sewing machines with onboard computers. That was very expensive to do back in the day. So what's a cheaper computer than like an $80 Game Boy? So I don't know. It made some kind of sense. But in Japan, this company Jaguar, not the car company, the sewing machine company, made the sewing machine in a bunch of different colors, and they also made this wonderful embroidery machine. And I spent a lot of money on this, and I got it from Japan, and I tested it, and it works and everything, and I can't sew. I also really can't embroider. I've not yet learned how to do the embroidery part of it,
Here's the
literally at
shame.
all.
Because it was really cool up to this point.
Yes. So I bought this, and in my head, I was like, this is a cool collection piece, and I'm going to hem my own clothes, and it's going to be great. And I've hooked up thread, and I've like run test, like make sure it works. And that's as far as I've gotten. I haven't even made a
I would be
freaking
too scared
pillowcase.
to use it. Like, if I
too.
broke it, I'm
It's
breaking
just
a
a
piece
sewing
of
machine.
history.
It's
You can hook up a Game Boy to it and embroider
but
with
they have.
it.
Although I am really curious, I have another one of these. It's not the embroidery one, but just the regular one that's pink, because it did not come out in pink in the United States. And that one is broken, and I did not pay a lot of money for it. And there's like a sewing machine repair place pretty close to me. And I keep thinking about going in there and bringing in this Japanese Game Boy sewing machine and being like, "Can you fix this? I don't know what's wrong with
Talk
it."
of the town. If you brought that in there, they've talked about that for years after. Remember that?
All the grannies
This
in
is
there.
so funny because literally on Saturday I was watching your YouTube video about the sewing machines that like
Oh,
hook up
don't
to the
watch
Game
me.
Boys.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, I was literally watching it.
Whenever I can, I watch you on YouTube, Kelsey. Like I gotta
Oh my
admit,
God.
like when
You
You should have
when you
way
have a
more
video
views.
with
This is ridiculous.
when you have a video with like Middle Jesus, which I got my fiance hooked on Middle Jesus' channel also. We're like, wait, this one has Kelsey in it, and they're like, let's watch it, and then like, guess what she's gonna
Oh
say?
my God.
for
And
these
I'm like
listicle.
23 in a bunch of them, and I can't look.
I think some of them were more recent, you know?
Okay.
Like we've watched like anything I could have consumed. I've already consumed it. But if it makes you feel better, no, I didn't.
Okay, good.
You know?
Anyways, this is my big shame. This is so heavy.
This is my big shame.
That's so cool. That's really cool. Is that it's
That's
what?
sick.
See, my toxic trait is that in my head, it's just not too late though. Like you haven't done it yet.
It's Janet. I bought this
See-
like 7 years ago.
You got a lot of
But
life
I
left to
also
live,
bought
though,
a sewing
Kelsey.
machine and never used it,
That's an
Kelsey.
old
This is
lady
very
Kelsey
relatable.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to grow. You grow into it. You know, like when your parents are buying
Yeah.
clothes that didn't fit,
Yeah.
you'll grow into it.
Hey.
You'll grow into it. Yeah, and I also I think it's because we're short, but I also bought a sewing machine and I was like, I'm gonna learn how to hem my clothes.
I want to learn how to
fit
fit my
into my
pants so bad. I was actually I just texted Kelsey this like 2 days ago. I'm like, I want to learn how to hem my pants so I don't have to pay for it anymore. But then
I also want to
scared.
learn, but you know, I've been saying that for years now. So
One day.
I actually took sewing
One
lessons
day.
for like 5 years straight. Couldn't tell you how
Oh.
to sew. I completely
No!
forgot. It's completely
That's
out of
so
my head.
sad.
I also had the biggest of a sewing teacher. She was an Irene. If you're watching this, don't know why, you're an you were so mean to me, Irene.
Oh
Such a
no, that's
dick.
awful.
Sorry, anyways. Something I'll talk to my therapist about when I'm lying about the games stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, in between
Speaking
the
of Haley's
lies.
therapist, I'll go next for my shame.
Okay, what was that segue? What are you gonna bring out? My therapy?
My greatest
Haley's
shame is that like I bought the Overwatch Mercy statue, the really big
come
one.
on, that's sick.
And I bought it when Overwatch was like good and popular, and it's big, it's huge. It's like, and I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be forever. Like, I'll never be ashamed of this. I'll always display this proudly in my home, no matter what happens. I was like super into the Overwatch League, and I was like, this is forever. Like this is like League of Legends. Like the Overwatch League is forever, and I had like Overwatch League jerseys and stuff. Like I literally worked with the Overwatch League. Like that was part of my job.
Cool.
And guess what happened? It all went down in flames, and all I have to remember it is this dusty Mercy statue that I can't store and sits in my
She's
office
beautiful.
and reminds me.
That's a
It's a
beautiful
good statue. It is,
Look at her.
but you know,
got a
the
nice
memories of
base.
my one trick days
Oh,
is my greatest shame.
I think it's a beautiful statue.
I think it's just a memory, you know, it's just like a nice memory of a forgotten time. I think this is not our biggest shame segment. This is tell everyone why you shouldn't be ashamed of your shame.
Well, mine's a perfect
Yeah, we're actually
segue off.
we're absolving ourselves.
The reason this is shameful is for a different reason. So here's my Soldier 76 Origins Edition.
Hang
What
on.
if they kissed? What if we made them kiss?
Everybody's shame is just Overwatch statues.
But the reason that sometimes, like, I look at this and sometimes feel bad. I love this thing. It sits on my desk with me all day. It's really cool. Audio listeners, it's like a grayed out Soldier 76 statue. Lots of detail. He looks very cool. But I remember when this came in the mail, I like opened it up. I send things to my parents' house because my packages get stolen, and they have like a Ring camera, so things don't get stolen at their house. So I got this sent there. I ordered it off somebody on eBay. And it came and I opened it, and Mom like was over my shoulder and I was opening it, and I was like, "Oh, look." She's like, "Haley, this is what you spend your money on." And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "Buy something nicer than this." She's like, "This is," and I was like, "You don't understand me." And I genuinely like think about
So
that.
you
when I
were
look at the
actually
statue.
shamed for this.
I was shamed.
So now whenever
This is my shame thing because someone else
and you actually like
implemented the shame.
Overwatch.
I still main Soldier to this day. It's been almost a decade.
Wow.
Next year will be a
Why is
decade
he-
with this man.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Why is he not painted? Like, why is he all one color?
It was just like
Is
the
it like a
vibe.
special one?
It's like yeah, this came with the Origins edition of Overwatch, which I didn't get. And it came like the collector's pack. It came with this and then like an art book or something, you know, all the extra stuff that no one cares about. But then some dude was just selling this, which is all I wanted. So I bought it off him on eBay.
That makes me like want to. I don't know if you've ever painted miniatures for like Warhammer or whatever, but like I want to paint him.
I've seen people on Etsy be like painted Soldier 76 collector statue and they like do the effort. I have a very dark wood black accent piece set up my computer and stuff. So he kind of matches that. I think if he was colored, he wouldn't look as cute next to my like black PC. But anyways, my mom called me the hell out when he showed up. So now it's a shameful item.
That's rough. Mine is kind of in the vein of Kelsey's. I'll also send it to the Slack so y'all could look at it while Haley pulls it up for video viewers. It is the arcade 1-up Miss Pac-Man machine.
What?
Miss Pac-Man is one of my favorite games ever. I think it's one of the greatest games of all time. It's like, hey, what if Pac-Man was better because it's faster? And also, you know, it's Yassified Pac-Man, so it's already kind of better to begin with. This is great. It's if you're not familiar with arcade 1-up or 1-up arcade or whatever, they make like kind of mini-ish cabinets. They're like smaller. They're not exactly mini. You can still, especially I'm short, I can stand at it very easily.
Well, they're still like stand-up cabinets.
Yes. Yeah, they're still stand-up cabinets, but they're smaller than like what you get at a traditional arcade, and they're way lighter because they're not like, you know, quote unquote real in the same way that an arcade machine at an arcade is. And I got this when this dropped. I was like, this is the one. This is what I've been waiting for. All the arcade machines look really cool, but this is the one for me. I love this game. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna get so much use out of it. It's gonna be so fun. I need to buy this. Like I went to, you know, I was actually living with like a lot more of my family at the time as well, on top of my now fiance. And I was like, hey, I want to get this, but this is like a big enough. It's physically large, so it's like I need people to be okay with like me having this in our home. Like, can you be okay with it? I'm like, I need you to be okay with this because I need this.
You got approval. You had to go seek approval.
Yes, and Isaiah's like, sure, go ahead. No, being like, you're not really gonna play this, and I'm like, yes, I am. What are you talking about? This is one of the greatest games ever. Why would I not play it? I don't play it that often. I haven't played it all year. I can't tell you the last time I played it. I could fix this at any time, at any second. The games don't take that long. It's an arcade game. But I just don't I just find myself moving it around my apartment, and it is what he had already known, but just kind of let me live my life, where it's like, we don't have the space for this. I'm like, no, we have the space. Small. What do you mean? This is something I either should have bought when I got a house or should never have bought because it's too big. I feel like I'm living in the Animal Crossing house. You know, in Animal Crossing, you got the arcade machine and you like put it in the corner, and it's like, well, that's fine because it's a house where you live in an animal town. I don't live in an animal town in real life. I live in Los Angeles, and it's dumb that I have this here, and it's always in the way. There's no place to put it. It's way too big. It is just a burden, but I'm not going to get rid of it because it was like not inexpensive.
It's so funny you say that.
And it's a good game.
It's like whenever you shared photos or like when I visited you, the arcade cabinet is like the first thing you see. That's right. In all of your photos, when you walk into your house, I'm like, wow, look, she has an arcade cabinet. Like, she must play it a lot.
No.
Oh, I always
the
assume
game
people
either.
that have arcade cabinets don't play them.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know. I have an arcade cabinet in storage.
I thought I'd be different though. I was like, no one's ever thought to just play it. And it's like, and even today, I'm not going to play it today. Yeah, I'm not playing it today either. So it's my big shame.
That's so funny. Because, yeah, I've seen it in, like, all your photos. Every time, like, you film or post from inside of your apartment. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's the arcade cabinet. And then when you said the arcade cabinet, I'm like, wait, that's iconic.
It does make you look cool.
It mocks
it's doing
you,
something for sure. Yeah, it mocks me. Yeah.
I love the big squishmallow on top. What was the thought there?
Oh man, honestly, that was also a problem because I love squishmallows. They're big and soft and fun. And I saw this one at a Costco. It's like a rainbow platypus, and
I thought
I was
that
like,
a bird.
yeah, now it's a platypus because it's got like the floopy tail. In the tag, I think said
okay,
the species.
Right. Can't see that from the front.
It's really just a stack.
Just kind
it's
of
like
a
a stack
circle
of
with a
problems. Yeah, it's just a stack of problems because I got that at Costco and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is awesome. We need this for our house. And then when I brought it home, I'm like, we don't have really the space for this either. So it's just, I love with my eyes, but I don't think with my mind. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this seems great. this will better my life. And it's too big. I'm honestly probably going to donate it so that some kid can enjoy it instead of me just moving it around my apartment. But yeah.
This is how
Too
I
many
feel about
cool
every
things.
life-sized Pokemon available on the Pokemon Center store.
What are you talking
see,
about?
I want
What are you
those.
talking about? What are you talking? Say that to his face, Kelsey.
What's
No,
this
I
guy's name
want
again?
him.
Whaley?
I just know
That's Spiel.
It's Whaley, Janet. Get out of here.
Sphere-
Spiel.
Sarah,
Whatever,
that seal is
Sarah.
taking up like a quarter of
What do
your
you
room.
mean?
It's awesome though, actually. I think that's really cool. And I want even knowing what I know about the Squishmallows, I want the life-size Pokemon.
He's so cute.
But I just don't know who I'd get. I want some. That's a good. He's a good shape. I don't know his name, but he's a good
Feels
shape.
probably
fit.
the yeah, that'd be the best.
He's most
one.
friend-shaped
he's-
Pokemon. Yeah.
Very French shape, and he's next to a little one of him.
I got that from
so
Kelsey's
he has like
store.
his son.
Oh,
Nice.
really?
I got that
That's
from Pink
fun.
Gorilla.
That's so cute. They have an Arcanine one that I really want. He looks so cute. He's just having a nap. I want to lay on him. A Snorlax one would hit because it's just a beanbag. And I have a Lapras floaty. That's pretty fun to
Oh, that's
bring out in the
cute.
summer.
That
is fun.
Yeah, that one's great. And
Yeah.
it's huge.
For our beach
I have the
episode.
Whale Lord one.
Exactly.
And guess how many times I've used it? Zero.
No. Oh, no.
I live in Minnesota. What?
the
Go to the
land of
pool.
1,000 million lakes or some crap, right? Like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
There's
point.
so many lakes to put
I
it
don't
in.
want to bring my floaty to a nasty lake.
You would be the cool girl with a whale lord floaty, though. That would be like you'd be the talk of the town. All the old
true.
ladies would talk about Kelsey's sewing machine, and all the people at the lake would talk about you with your whale lord.
Also, I love that I made fun of Janet calling Sfeel Whaley, and I was like, okay, but here's my other one, Whale Lord.
Yeah,
Exactly.
kind of the same.
It's all something.
All right, thank you for sharing all of your wonderful show and tell shames. We're gonna move into our final segment of the show, which is something that we like to call Ping Pals. Now, if you are a super savvy gamer of the Nintendo DS era, you might be thinking like, hey, Kelsey, Ping Pals is a DS game that was developed by Shantae developer Way Forward and published by THQ on December 8th, 2004. And you're right. Ping Pals is all of those things, but we like the name, so we stole it. So this is an advice column, and we're going to be taking on your questions and dishing out life advice as best as us mere mortals can. So are you guys excited to answer our first Ping Pal questions?
Our very first Ping
Yes.
Pal.
Our first Ping Pals! The only problem is almost everyone submitted anonymously, so we can't like call out our pals.
That's fair.
So
I mean, you'll
they're
know
just,
who you are.
yeah, they're just gonna be
Also, you don't like win anything like on the MinnMax show. Like, there is no prize for best.
not yet.
Your prize is the great advice.
The prize is the information. Yes, exactly.
true. Yeah.
Really.
Plus,
The gift of knowledge.
you never know who's gonna sponsor and give us
true.
some cool prizes to give out. So, all right, guys. Anonymous says, I think my phone is making me miserable. Any advice on improving your relationship to personal devices? I'm struggling to balance staying informed with doom scrolling, and I want to get rid of the urge to check my phone constantly.
I don't know about you
Yes.
guys. I'm this close to deleting TikTok. I'm getting really close.
I've never downloaded it.
Good for you, because I never feel good when I'm on that app anymore. It used to be fun. It used to actually show me good things. But y'all in your freaking election and stuff. I'm in Canada. I don't care. I
We're
don't
screaming
wanna
for
see
help,
it.
Haley.
You're
Please.
screaming for help.
That's
Now you're all mad at us. I don't even know what we did. We're getting in trouble. We can't buy any of your
I know.
stuff. It's like
Haley
oh my
can't get her
God.
Budweiser anymore. Which,
get
by the
my
way,
frickin'
we do
Bud
need to
Light.
talk about that.
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
need to
Bud
talk
Light.
about it. But I
That's the
noticed
worst
that
beer.
message in
Okay.
Slack like right before we started, and I was like, hang on, you really miss
It
Bud
tastes
Light?
like water. It's like the most hydrating
Yeah.
beer. But
It tastes like, what do you mean?
it's the most hydrating beer. Okay, so like I like a little IPA or whatever, but then after a couple of those, you're like, I think I'd rather die. This feels like I'm eating a loaf of bread. Cut to Bud Light. Oh my God, I'm drinking a delicious glass of water that happens to get me drunk also. It's like how I
every
feel
time
with
I
Bud
hear
Light.
I'm not a beer person. Every time I hear someone describe like the way in which a beer is good, I'm like, have you tried any other beverage? Like
That's
Nothing
why
else tastes
this
like
is
grass in
good.
the same way. I like the grass taste. You know, that's the thing.
Grass.
Like I'm an IPA pale ale person, so I like that hoppy grassy,
I do
bitter
like
taste.
that too, but doesn't your
'Cause
stomach
see,
start to hurt?
I just switched. I just switched.
I
to
do like the
wine.
watery stuff too.
And that's really
Hey,
done it for
wine.
me. I
I'm
just
too
Or
drink wine.
seltzer? Alcoholic seltzer?
I'm too sleepy.
I get
Yeah, wine gets me
headaches
really
with wine.
sleepy.
All right, hang on, ladies. We gotta focus.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
back
what
to
was
the
the question?
advice.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Okay,
This is
so
about our phones making us miserable, and this
so
is
maybe
Drinking?
deleting apps is
Oh,
definitely
sorry.
deleting
That's
apps has been
different.
What'd you say,
that-
I said drinking.
drinking.
So just
Take up
drink.
drinking as a hobby.
Drink and then doom scroll, so you won't care as much.
I do think
Yeah,
the
definitely
biggest
delete apps.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest like first step you can take. I mean, I still struggle with my phone and not putting it in another room, which helps so much. Like just literally physically putting it in another room. But deleting the apps is like the easiest first step.
Yeah.
You won't miss it as much as you think you do. Like you'll find yourself, at least in my case, like I find myself still like going to pick up my phone as if the app is still there. Like I still have the like addict response with that.
Yeah.
But it does get better. And yeah, I don't have TikTok or Twitter or I do still have Instagram on my phone, but I think I'm going to get rid of that too. A lot of stuff is like, and I'm sure you guys can relate just with your jobs and stuff too. Like I do have to use some of these apps for work. Like we do still post on Instagram and stuff as the business, but yeah, I try to keep it away from like my personal devices.
I cannot delete. I don't want to delete the apps. I like having my
Same.
problems. I'm like Haley with the sleeping at night. So, but I have been actually working on trying to be more like in different zones in my day. Like when I'm working, when I'm working, when I'm not, I'm not. And the thing that's helped me with the apps, and I'm sure Android has this too, but I have an iPhone, so I don't know. But you can set focuses on the iPhone. So just like if you're not going to delete, like at least having restrictions or different times. So like I have like a personal one, and on that, the pages I have are all just like things that are just like personal fun time. So it does include my socials. It includes like hobbies and like video games and iMessage and my camera roll and other stuff. But then I have a work one where it's like, that's where like Slack and Gmail surfaces to the screen. Cause I also have the problem with like, not even just socials, but like I'll check Slack also constantly. Cause I don't have badges on certain things. Cause I don't want to always be bothered, but I'm also like, what's going on in there? So I find myself opening a lot of things over and over again and having focuses, but also having limits on the app as well. Like I have a limit for all my socials where on my phone it's 15 minutes a day. I do go over that a lot, but I know I'm going over it because I have to keep hitting
That's
like
smart.
ignore 15 minutes. And just doing that helps me realize like how often am I like extending my time? Do I want to extend my time now? Is it a time to do that? And that's like my nicotine patch. If you
I
don't
used
want to
to do that.
fully quit.
I used to do that, but I just found that I was just hitting the button all the time and like it wasn't making me actually like mindful of it. It was just like a
not
very
ready to hear that
small
yet.
obstacle that I have
Annoying
put
you.
in front of myself.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I found that I got a library card and I've just been reading a lot more. And I found that like reading has helped a lot because when I'm reading,
Yeah.
I'm not scrolling and I'm not like thinking about all the bad things. So yeah, I feel like reading, like my reading has like upped like by like a lot this year.
I need to read
Nice.
more.
I think that's a
Yeah.
really smart, like, I think the best thing you can do is simply replace it with other things. Like, it's a bad habit, and the way to get rid of a bad habit is to replace the habit with something else. And,
Yeah.
you know, you might not, like, I sometimes tell myself, like, oh, well, video games, like, aren't quote unquote good for me either, but they are substantially better for my mental health than doom scrolling. So even if I'm just replacing, you
Yeah.
know, time might be scrolling on social media or whatever with with a video game, even like a really brain dead one, like that is still better for mental health. Like I would rather fix it 15% than not at all, you know?
Well, I think too, like the thing I've sort of realized is that socials inherently are like a little bit more like the chips thing, which is like there's nothing wrong with chips, but if you're eating like bags of chips, maybe just eat like a pizza or like a meal, you know, something more substantial. And I think
Yeah.
like games, books, TV, movies is that because it's like there's nothing wrong with short form content inherently, and obviously it can be used to stay informed on things, but it takes a lot. Like you're never really like satisfied, and it never ends. Like it reminds me of like there are parents who will talk about having their kids watch DVDs instead of Netflix simply because it has an end. where it's like, oh, now I can either watch more of like another DVD or another show, or I can transition into another activity. And I think social media just inherently doesn't have transition time baked into it, which makes it so easy to be like, oh my God, this was like my whole day.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Sometimes I'll have my Steam Deck like propped in front of me with my phone in front of it, and I'm scrolling, and I have to go, "What am I doing?" Like toss it to the side, like you know what I mean? That's how spoiled.
It's like the minute I have to
brain
wait
has
for like
gotten.
something for 2 seconds, I go to TikTok to start scrolling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like
Yeah.
5 seconds alone with my own thoughts, and I can't even do it.
I know.
I think the answer to this is that like it's truly I don't think people are talking about genuine phone addiction as much as they probably should be. Like it's, and I don't really think, I don't know. I don't want to like place the blame on any one thing or any one action, but it is just like the fact that it is this difficult to even just not pick up the phone all the time when you feel like 2 seconds of boredom is
Crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Our
All right.
advice is that's wild. Next question.
No,
Our
we have
advice is so relatable.
Yeah.
There's some advice.
There was
Yeah.
advice. There was advice.
Okay. Anonymous asks, how do you control your spending on hobbies? Do regular bills keep you in check, or do you have to actively decide when and when not to spend money? I'm in college, but my financial aid and parents help take care of most of the expenses. So really, I'm just trying to save up money for when I've graduated, and I'm completely independent. I think I'm doing all right, but I still feel like I spend way too much on compulsive purchases and retail therapy. Any tips to be a better saver?
I am the same way. I love that little feeling when a little package is on the way. Life is worth
statue?
living. Exactly, the statue. I've also recently gotten into Pokemon cards at the worst possible time on human Earth to get into that hobby, so I have to be careful there. I think what my brain does is if I get too bogged down, you know how people have like the whole Excel spreadsheet? It's like, I'm allowed to spend $122 on groceries on Thursday and this. I was like, I don't really do that. What I try to do is like, okay, my bank account's at this. I need to be at this much by mid-year. And then as long as I have that goal, it's like, oh, I spent a little, but like next month I just won't buy that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, as long as there's an incremental goal I'm inching towards, it'll be like, I shouldn't buy that because then I won't reach the goal. And then that's like, then I don't have to get bogged down in like exact, Excel spreadsheet nonsense because I know I wouldn't keep up with it and I just give it up and it wouldn't even help. If I have just one medium/long-term number vibe goal for savings, then it's like a reason why I shouldn't buy something. And I'll go, if I buy that, I won't reach the goal. That's kind of how I try to think about it.
Yeah, my bank has a pretty good, it's just Bank of America, but it has like a halfway decent like budgeting thing where you can set all of that stuff and have it send you alerts when you're like, it's halfway through the month and you've spent 80% of your budget on certain things. And I try not to like, I try to do it a little bit like you, Haley, where it's like I set a budget for the different things, but like some months, some months I will have money I have to spend going to the dentist or something, and then other months have, don't have that. So, or I just make poor decisions. It's not all like reasonable like that, but just making sure that it like overall stays under has been kind of my goal with it. But honestly, like there's two things that help me. First of all, I feel like sometimes, I don't know if you guys get this way, but like sometimes I'm going to go do the retail therapy thing. Like I'm going to TJ Maxx or like a thrift store or something. And I'm realizing like this actually isn't even helping. Like this isn't actually making me happier. And then I know like for sure I need a break from spending on some stuff because like the retail therapy is supposed to actually work. Like if it's hitting the point where like even buying something at a TJ Maxx or whatever is not doing anything for my mood, like I've gone definitely too far and I need to take a break for a while. And then the other thing, and this sounds weird, but like I love challenges. So like Janet and I use this app called Wearing that catalogs all your clothes or you can catalog all your clothes and like set your outfits kind of like Clueless style. And right now they're doing a 60-day no buy challenge and you just are supposed to upload your outfit every day. And it doesn't even like go to anyone. Like I don't even think anyone can see it. Or at least I can't see Janet. So I just assume so. But like just the like there's a challenge and I have to like do the thing every day is helping me a lot where I'm like, I'll fail the challenge if I buy something. Like that's That's not part of the
You
like.
need to gamify it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you have to use your, at least in my case, use like competitive nature to your advantage and be like, well, I don't want to lose. I don't want to be a loser, so
I don't want to lose either, but at the same time, that next Bagoo drop looks really good, and I don't have any Bagoos, but I do have enough bags. I know.
My sister
So I don't want the
and I are
leather ones,
texted about
but I want
it.
I want some of the other ones they have. Sorry if you didn't know about the drop and now I ruined your financial life. Couple things. One, thinking about this in college, you are miles ahead of where I ever was. I wish I started thinking about my finances more in college. The earlier the better, honestly, because it really does compound. I am far from perfect. I do break my budget often, and I impulse spend quite a bit. Like just the other day, I'm like, I don't have any dining out money set aside, but I really want this Lux bagel, and I can afford that because I set aside a lot of money for taxes. So I just kind of, that's my cheat, even though I want to stop doing that. But what I use is this app called YNAB. You Need a Budget is how it spells out. It is a lot of upfront work to get set up. You can auto like link stuff, but you do want to be manually logging. But once I got all that set up, that has been absolutely perfect for knowing everything about my money. To make a long story short, the way it works is you make however many categories you want. Maybe you have like, rent or, post-grad savings, college, dining out with friends, fun money, something like that might fit the person who wrote in's lifestyle. And then as you get money, you need to be allocating all your money towards these different categories. Like you don't just have money, you like put it in slots. And then when you go to spend, you like log it. So it'll be like, oh, I spent $10.87 on Noah's Bagels. That's my dining out budget. If I don't have money in that budget, it will say I am over budgeted. And then I have to click it and take money from somewhere else, usually bottom up, because at least you want to order by priority. So yeah, that's how I would do. That's how I like doing it. It's been awesome. I think it's the perfect in between for like rigid budget versus like how your life actually is. It also helps you it's helped me over the years realize like, oh, sometimes stuff might come up that really like messes with my budget. Okay, maybe I need a category to address this thing. So if you have like a car and your tire blows out and you're like, oh my God, this was like a couple $100. Okay, I need to make a car maintenance thing. And then you can start kind of chipping away at that. And that's been super, super helpful to just see like different goals and make progress towards that. So yeah, that's what I've liked doing. And I failed at like money stuff so many times. And for a long time, I convinced myself that like, I can't be good at money because I just don't make enough. And that's just not true. Like you can always, obviously to some degree that can be true if you're really, really in a bad spot, but it often is not as hopeless as it might feel. And it's been really empowering to like get a handle on my finances and like have an emergency fund, which I didn't have for like years and years and years. I think I got that set up only a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's a great feeling to be in control of that kind of stuff.
Nice. There's like a range of options there. They can pick the much more diligent Janet to my like, I don't want to think about it, Haley version.
All right, I think we have time for one more quick one.
Okay.
Not Poncho writes in and says, I have a hard time being open with people about my love of video games. Games are a defining aspect of my life, but I keep it under wraps out of fear of being associated with really obnoxious and oftentimes bigoted people. The social perception of video games and the people who play them has been ugly for as long as I can remember. Video games cause violence, they're an unattractive hobby, gamers hate women, etc., etc. In the long run, this has made it difficult to open up, make more friends, or even start relationships. If you have any advice for working through the shame I feel about my favorite hobby, I'd appreciate it.
So true. I feel like, there's like the capital G gamers, like there's gamers derogatory, and I feel like they're a very vocal minority. And I think a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people play games now that are like our age and a little bit older. Like obviously if you ask like an adult or like a boomer or like anyone over the age of 40, they're probably like,
Sarah, we're
an adult or a boomer, not me. I'm a very young teen. I don't pay bills. Unlike me. But I think everyone plays. I think more people than you assume play games. I just think that maybe you have to widen what you consider like a game, right? Like you have to be more open to people who play more casually. Like, oh, the only game I play is The Sims. Like I told my hairdresser once and she was like, oh, the only game I play is Skyrim. And we just talked about Skyrim the entire time. Like that was the only game she's ever played.
I actually just talked to a hairdresser about, because I get this. I feel this like when people are like, I had a new hairdresser the other day and she was like, oh, you watch any good TV shows or movies lately, and I was thinking, I'm like, not really, other than Arcane. So I started talking about Arcane, which is, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, it's a show. It's based on the League of Legends game. And she's like, oh, is it like, you know, is it hard to follow if you don't play the game? And I was like, no, not at all. Like, I haven't played in years. And a lot of, I don't know, like, I think that people are more open to it if you approach it like it's kind of just a normal conversation. You know, I don't think that I would have gone into that conversation being like, you know, here's my current obsession. I'm playing, you know, 6 hours a day or whatever. But I do think that in general, a lot of people, like, if you kind of frame it as like, oh, like I picked this up and I'm playing this recently, then it becomes a discussion about the games rather than like, hello, my hobby is gaming, if that makes sense. And I think that a lot of people are, I think people are surprisingly open to that if it's just framed in a like, I'm not trying to come at you as a like gamer. Are you a gamer too? It's just like, it kind of comes across the same way as like, as if you're watching a TV show lately, you know? Yeah. And maybe the person hasn't seen that TV show or hasn't really heard of it, but that doesn't mean that like they think you're a huge weirdo for, you know, watching a TV show they haven't heard of. I think you can still, like, you can approach it in that way.
Like, no one walks up and goes, I'm a TV show savant. I watch every show and I keep up with the shows. Like, people will just say, I like to watch TV shows. You're like, oh, neat. Yeah, I get, there's like a way to communicate it, I guess. And it's funny though with certain people though who just like don't get it. Like if you're like, oh yeah, like I'm really into games, and they think that way. I think what this person's saying of like, oh, you wear a trench coat, you're in the basement, and you hate women or something. Or, oh,
you're ordering the Soldier 76 statue.
You're ordering the G.I. Joe Soldier 76 statue. It's like, yeah, I don't know. They don't even know what they're thinking about. So you don't have to take the time to teach them about what video games are and how they're a multi-billion-dollar industry at this point with more than one goal. Yeah.
But again, it's like discouraging when it's like that, you know, oh, you play games? My nephew plays Roblox. Yeah. Do you know that? It's like, I think that always is kind of like a knife to the chest a little bit. And I think you also just have to accept that like that'll happen sometimes, but that doesn't mean that you can never talk about it. I think
like that. I'm actually the CEO of Roblox, and they go, "Oh, wow!" And what are they going to do?
Oh my god, Haley, that's so funny.
Like, wow, the thing is like even people in gaming aren't like safe, right? Because I used to work at Mattel, and one of my coworkers in the gaming division, I had never really chatted with him before, but we were coming back from a meeting, and I was like, we were in the elevator, and I was like, so, like, did you see, like, the Death Stranding, Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus? And he just looks at me and he goes, what? And it turns out this guy didn't play any games. He only likes to watch sports and read the newspaper. I struck out so hard.
Someone with the Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus. That is
you swung so hard.
This Sarah. Is what you don't do.
Miles away.
You started at like a 10 in terms of gamer lingo.
My advice is don't go for the terminally online jugular right away.
Yeah.
That's great.
You bet big though, and you could have won big.
Well, because it's like every other person I worked with in gaming. I guess I overly assumed, right? Shame on me.
Yeah.
You shouldn't assume people are gamers, and you shouldn't assume people aren't gamers.
Yes.
It is weird to be in the game industry, an industry that does not pay well and does not have good job security, and not play video games. That just feels like a strange choice to me. Yeah. Like, go be in an industry that's good.
Yeah. I think he had just worked there for so long. He got like he started with browser games. All those Barbie browser games that you guys grew up on. That's what he did.
He did.
Wow.
And then he just ended up. And then he just ended up in gaming.
Interesting. How does one fall into gaming? That is, I've never.
You work
heard
at a big
of that.
Corporation like Mattel, and you just get shuffled around enough until you end up in gaming.
That is how it worked in like the 80s and 90s. Yep. Like there was no one went to school for video games. Video games like. This wasn't like a career yet, you know, so you just end up with like, oh, you're good at computer graphics, you're good at programming, like make a video game. That's your job now. So yeah, I don't know.
Sarah's fetus story in the elevator.
It was really, we were in the elevator too, like I couldn't leave. And I like, how do you recover that? How do you recover that?
Stew in that.
You can't even show a screenshot because it's also weird. It's not like the game is actually normal and you're just being silly. That game is insane. Oh no.
You want to see
Well, I
the
figured that's why
screenshot
you
of a
would've heard
fetus on my phone? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this
Okay.
lesson goes both ways.
Yeah. I really do think it's
And be the change you want to see in the world, you know? Tell them that you like games and you also respect women, you know? Be the change.
Just clarify.
Please don't say
Challenge
that out
your
loud. I will
perspective.
run so far away. If someone was like, hello, I'm a gamer and I respect women. I'd be like,
The call's coming from
you
inside
sure
the
about
house.
that?
Yeah.
The security button's being pressed underneath the desk.
But yeah, I mean, video games really are as ubiquitous as TV shows now. So just talk about them like you would talk about a TV show, which is like, again, you don't walk up to people and go, I'm a huge TV show guy. I love TV shows. You just talk about the one you're watching right now.
Yeah.
And that's, I think and yeah, like Haley said, I mean, there's going to be some weirdos that don't get it, but
Get it.
most
get it.
people I think can hang when it's approached in that way.
Yeah.
I think that's it for our show, guys.
Oh my god.
We did it!
Yeah.
Episode 1.
We
This
won.
is episode 1. Thank you guys so much for listening to our first episode of Pew Pew Bang. Janet, who set up our socials, can you tell the lovely people where to find us?
Yeah,
on the internet?
absolutely. By
Off
no
the top of
means
your
you have to
head
go to
right now?
settings and then click on it. We're on Blue Sky. The handle is Pew Pew Bang. So shout out to that. And we're also, I'd say let's just say Blue Sky for now because we also on Instagram and the handle is Pew Pew Bang Pod.
Yeah,
So stay
and
tuned for that.
we're brand new, so not much to see yet, but we're planning on doing a bunch of fun social content. So hang out there. I should also mention again, Pew Pew Bang is a MinnMax show, a MinnMax supported podcast, which is listener supported. You can support this show and the MinnMax show at patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. Find a tier that's right for you. Your support is what allows us to make this along with lots of other things. And then again, please, if you know anyone who might be interested in this kind of content, we're really in search of our people here. So tell a friend and please give us some feedback on the format of the show. We would love to hear it. And thank you so much for listening and being a part of this fun new adventure with us.
Yay!
Yay!
Sleepover over. I don't know what to...
Our parents
I
are
don't know
picking
how
us
to
up outside.
Yeah.
Call it adult!
If you liked this, you can catch more of us on MinnMax's other content like the MinnMax Show podcast, our Unhinged community voted series, New Show Plus, deepest dive game clubs on new and retro games, and a whole lot more. It's all Patreon supported, so if you enjoy the show, please consider checking out those benefits, clicking around to our other shows, or telling a friend about Pew Pew Bang. Thanks a bunch.